You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning, Sir Douglas. How are you?
Good, man. How you doing?
Doing all right. Can't complain.
Lots of craziness as always. Latest drama is the Thorchain exploit. I'm sure we'll get into that.
Oh, that I haven't heard about, so this ought to be interesting.
Oh, you haven't heard that? Oh man, that's a big one, man. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah, I haven't heard about this, so I'll be very interested to hear.
The timing is just crazy because also earlier in the week, Thorchain was looking better than ever. Everybody's very excited about the upcoming Monero implementation. Obviously, people concerned that, the implementation may not be super secure, but, everybody was happy that it was nearing launch. In fact, they did a test transaction. They live swapped real Monero to Rune, or vice versa, Rune into Monero, basically on a test net. And it worked. Excitement in the air. They live demoed it, and then 24 hours later, Thorchain, one of the vaults got hacked, and the private key was taken.
Ouch.
And $10 million was essentially just taken out of the vault. The crazy part is, it was a pretty deep level hack. It was a hack on the cryptographic level. I'm not technical enough to understand, give you the details on it, but they basically hacked the underlying cryptography. They were able to extract the private key by being a node operator and runner and partaking in, I guess, the multi-sig signing or whatever. And through that, doing that multiple times, they were able to extract pieces of the private key and put it together.
It was probably the CIA getting back at them for adding Monero.
Yeah, whatever it is, the timing is crazy, right? It's like we were like, Monero's coming, it's coming, and then boom. So yeah, I mean, it could just be some hacker that just realized the exploit recently, but it seems like interesting timing. There's some chain analysis that's been done on where the funds came from to execute the attack and run the node. And it did come from Monero. It started, which makes sense. Obviously, the guy is going to want to be anonymous. But it started as Monero transactions that then, so it's never a dull moment. Never a dull moment. I feel bad, man. I feel bad for the Thorchain crew. But hey, it's a wake-up call. But they've had a lot of wake-up calls. That's the thing. Like, this isn't the first time something like this has happened. So, I don't know. I'm really, I'm still trying. I'm trying to be a Thorchain fan still. Don't want to shit on them when they're down. But I do think there's obviously some issues there in terms of the amount of resources they're putting towards security and auditing.
Yeah, I would just be very, very careful using Thorchain.
Yeah. And Luke Parker, he jumped on it right away, rightfully so. He actually tweeted out a clip from the Justin Berman interview I had 2 weeks ago where I asked him about Thorchain. He's like, they've made a lot of mistakes. They don't have the best track record right now. And sure enough, a week later. So it's interesting. The other interesting part of this is, and we could do this on viewers on stage if people want to come share their opinions, if they have deeper opinions, if there's Thorchain people out there that could give us more details. But my understanding is it's not just Thorchain that's theoretically susceptible to this attack. It's any other cryptos that are using the same underlying cryptography. And there's a lot. So it's, maybe they were just the biggest target and the first one to get attacked too, right? So we'll see. We'll see if this now leads to them upgrading their entire protocol to, using a different underlying cryptography, which, with not knowing much, that I would hope that's the direction they would go. Use this as a moment to do that. And then we'll see what happens with going live with Monero, because that is fully built out. Now, whether or not it's 100% secure, I don't know. Whether or not that means maybe now they should be like, you know what? Let's do some more auditing of the Monero one since we have time anyway. Because right now the chain itself isn't even running. So, yeah. That was the big news this week, I would say, for Monero and Thorchain. And so Thorchain came crashing down right on the eve of, or the day following, people finally really being excited about the Monero Thorchain integration. So a lot of ups and downs as usual. We have Orange Friend who's going to jump up. Let me see if I could get him to come up now. I told him noon, but he liked the tweet, so maybe he'll join us right now, which would be great because we could just do the guest segment first, and then we'll have body. We'll do price report. News. I don't know if Tony's around. Is Tony around? Do we know?
He said he was going to try, but I haven't heard anything other than try, so.
The cryptography that was exploited has been in place since nearly the start of the project. It's been in place for nearly 6 years, and yes, the cryptography is used elsewhere. Yeah. And my understanding is, I think I'll try to bring this up in the news. It was clearly pointed out by some others, cryptographers, that this thing needed to be updated. There's a tweet. I could pull it up. And so it appears like Thorchain should have been on notice of this, this exact issue. And the upgrade, I guess, didn't take place. So
that sounds a lot like the recent Bisq hack where the thing was pointed out that, hey, this needs to be replaced or whatever, and they just hadn't gotten around to it.
Yeah. And, that's what Luke's big issue was with them, because, he is building Sarai. He's audited or partook in basically doing bug bounties for Thorchain. So he knows the project very well and is very critical of, I guess, of the way they go about managing their security. Let me see if I can find yeah, here we go. It was Matt Luongo. Let's see, I'll pull it up. I don't know if I can find it.
And I doubt we have many new listeners, but for any new listeners, we do have Thorchain is a liquidity decentralized exchange where you take one crypto and swap it into another crypto via a third crypto. So Thorchain has this thing called Rune. And so if you want to switch, say, Bitcoin to Monero, you would switch Bitcoin for Rune and then switch Rune for Monero.
Exactly.
I doubt we have that many new people watching, but just for anybody who is.
Speaking of, guys, like and share. Let's get the word out. Let's spread the word. There's, people are interested in Monero right now. A lot of new people learning about Monero. A lot of new people in crypto land waking up to the need for privacy tech, waking up to the fact that Monero is the leader in that space. So I do think we get a lot of new people. So here's the tweet. It was from Matt Luongo in September. It was on September 13th, 2023. I recommend that all TSS lib users CC Thorchain consider switching to the network fork. So we could get into what the technicals of this are, but basically, if they would have done this, the attack would not have been possible, is my understanding, without understanding what the technological change is. So people can contest that, let us know if that's not the case, but that appears to be the case, and that's not a good look. So my first question would be, is there any other things they've been warned about that need to be changed? Let's get on top of those. And yeah, maybe there just needs to be some changes in just their, I guess, the amount of resources they're putting towards security and whatnot. I don't know.
One other piece of possible news is that apparently the Blockchain Regulatory Certainty Act that's in the Clarity Act that would protect non-custodial developers from being prosecuted, it hasn't been removed from the Clarity Act, but they're talking as though it could be removed. And if it is removed, then that would mean that people could still be prosecuted for developing open source code.
Yeah, that was big news. That was other big news this week. We'll probably bring that up in the news. The Clarity Act passed, but they left out the one part that would have had the greatest impact on protecting true crypto, the development of true crypto, the usage of true crypto, protecting those that are building the software, open source software for crypto. They left out that language as a negotiation, which that's like, I wasn't aware that it got left out. I was under the impression that they were talking about leaving it out. No, I think it got left out to pass
that's no good.
vote, for passing that committee vote. Yeah. Now, I don't think it necessarily means it's completely out yet. I don't know. Doug, did you get XMR chat to work? Yeah, we did. Give it a shot, guys. Give it a try. It should be working now. It worked on the last Monero Talk episode I did earlier this week. Somebody was saying hey guys, before you do the price, I suggest you take 2 minutes to read my long ass comment from episode 258. That's when I guess Monero XMR chat was down 3 weeks ago, and maybe talk it out. If I could find the one you're talking about.
That might be kind of difficult since there's no, like, at least that I'm aware of, there's no like timestamps or anything. There's no like date.
Yeah, it's not like saying episode. I mean, he said very long post, so
I guess you could just look for a very long post.
Or what was the name? Yeah, what was his username? Yeah, sorry, bro. Maybe you could try to just retweet it as a regular tweet if you don't want to send an XMR chat, or just send a super cheap one, and I'll bring it up. I will bring it up. We do have Body, so maybe we will run with Body then. Body, are you there?
Hello.
How's it going, bro?
GM.
Good. Yeah, we just want to keep things moving along because I got to be mobile at 1 o'clock, so I'll be able to listen in to viewers on stage or whatever. But I want to get our special guest up today. We have Orange Friend. He's going to give us the lowdown on the Monerocon conference. He's the one running it this year. He's doing a great job. Buddy, you're going, right? You're presenting.
Yeah. I'm presenting my simulation findings.
That's so awesome. Have you been to Monerocon yet?
No, never.
Wow, and he's rolling in it as a presenter. Somebody who's presenting. That's pretty badass, man.
No, man, I had imposter syndrome. I couldn't go to Monerocon. It was like beyond me until I did something real.
So you've got until noon, Body, and that's it. No more Body afternoon.
It's gonna be. I'm sure it's gonna be awesome. Poland, Warsaw's beautiful. Have you ever been to Poland?
I've never been to Europe. I've never been out of out of Americas.
Oh my God, you're gonna love it. Oh my God.
Someone was telling me I'm gonna get exposed to all sorts of bacteria and crazy viruses that I've never. I told them that my ancestors, they're European, so at least some of them, most of them.
Pretty sure you've been exposed. All right, yeah, so we'll let you take it away with price. Obviously, another big week. Things aren't looking too good today. I woke up, was like, oh, man. I hope we're not
down, but we're not down bad.
Are we going back? Are we going back to the depths of hell? We were just talking last week how we're saying like the bottom is in, but things do feel weird. I'm sure you'll get into all this, but the bond market, right, is crazy right now.
Yeah, the bond market's crashing. The dollar is rising. We'll get into all that more, but there's some interesting developments.
Yeah. All right. I'll let you take it away.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exelix, privacy-first multi-chain swap aggregator designed for seamless instant swaps. Exchange XMR instantly with the fully non-custodial, KYC-free experience and secure execution across hundreds of blockchains.
All right, let's see.
Alrighty.
Yeah, I mean, we're not really down that bad, to be honest. We're just a little bit of a pullback, as you can see. I mean, 383. Are we really going to complain about being almost $400? You know, we suffered a fall below 300 pretty recently. So, I mean, we're overall the big picture. To me, things look still pretty nice with the big picture. It still feels, you know, with the big spike, we got to 800 and everyone's like, we were already fucking counting our chips. You know, like the song says, you never count your money while you're sitting at the table. Although that's kind of a stupid lyric because you should definitely know how many big blinds you have left in the tournament. Yet I digress. All right, so yeah, I guess you're wanting to keep things moving, so we won't take too long on the price report today. Luckily, nothing happened and nothing ever happens, and probably nothing will ever happen. Okay, so basically, I think we should expect Monero to continue chopping sideways with the potential to move up. This could just be a pullback. This could be a healthy pullback on the way towards a higher level. I kind of would expect that we should at least hit these upper standard deviation bands at around the 460 level, 450 level. Are we going to get there? I don't know. You know, it's just TA. Like, I'm not sure how extremely relevant the TA is on the chart at the current moment, but I don't know. I'm not necessarily expecting a leg down, but you know, I'm not expecting a leg down. Hypothetically, you know, if things fall off here, you could see Monero drop back down to the lower standard deviation bands. I think overall the pressure seems to be towards the upside just in general. Let's maybe extend some of these lines, see what we can do here. Yeah. So, yeah, actually, these lines kind of make a lot of sense. Their extensions kind of make a lot of sense, at least on the 4 hour. Now, let's go to Bitcoin. We talked about last week. We said, hey, you know, I still don't fully believe it. The way that crypto has been behaving, like this could easily be a fake out. I said, you know, I'm not sure. So we talked about, if you remember, guys, we talked about being in this zone where we sort of draw the pleb lines as steep and as shallow as we can, right? We give ourselves a range of where the true correct line might be. And you get into this range, and usually that means you're going to break out, but you haven't confirmed it yet. And so I was kind of expressing some worry last week that this could be a fake out. We are not out of fake out clearance territory yet. And what we really wanted to see was a close and then another close above the previous all-time high, or local swing high above this wick. Obviously, you know, I said we wanted to close above this previous close. That's good. But the action immediately after that it didn't follow through, right? We still didn't beat this rising trend line here. And then things fell back down. So it's kind of feeling like a fake out, which is really kind of sad, because if we go over here to stocks and we take a look at what stocks have been doing, they've just been crushing it. And this was actually the bigger call last week, was that my confidence right now is high in stocks going up overall. Like the trend is up, and there's no reason to think that trend will not be up for the foreseeable future. You know, we'll try and pin down, you know, we'll get the macro right. We'll try and figure out when the stock market is finished going up. But, you know, I mean, if you really truly want to be a trader and you really want to fucking make your money on investments, you're going to need exposure to the stock market, because crypto goes through these years of languishing sideways. And then you're stuck trying to find the one coin or the handful of coins among thousands that are going to pump. And even if you can find it, it probably doesn't have liquidity. Like if you're really playing professionally so that you live your life as a trader, a lot of these shit coins that pump 10x, you know, they don't have the liquidity. Like, okay, congratulations, you made 10 grand. And sure, that's not nothing, but is that enough? Is that going to be enough for you to like sustain all the way through? Like, probably not. Like when you're playing it at the level that you make your livelihood from that, you typically you have to have a lot of those. And it's a dangerous proposition. You're going to lose a lot of them when you're playing in crypto when things are just kind of languishing sideways. Anyways, I just say all that so that you understand that if you really want to be an active trader, you're going to need to be in the stock market, commodities market, futures markets, etc. Crypto and gold are typically not going to be enough. You can make them work if you do like algorithmic kind of stuff. You can totally make money in a bear market, but I mean, if you're going to do that successfully, you're going to have to KYC onto some leverage trading platform anyways. And if you're going to KYC onto a platform, why not get into the stock market as well so that you can capitalize on the commodities and the stocks, etc. Anyway, so S&P 500 did pretty good this week. You can see there's new all-time highs, fresh new all-time highs for the S&P. And we say this a lot every week. Oh, look, new all-time highs, because that's what they do. They slowly, steadily, little by little push this market higher and higher and higher. And of course, the corporations, they all get first access to the printed money, which is taken at the point of loans. So, of course, the stock market marches higher. It gets the first liquidity, right? They have the access, direct access to the printer. NVIDIA also put on another new all-time high. Again, NVIDIA is not a bubble. We said this 2 years ago, and this continues to play out. That's just going to be the case here. Sorry for the schizophrenia, scrolling back and forth on the chart there. Yeah, it kind of hit new all-time highs this week and then came back down. This is the hourly chart, so we can kind of see the little near-term, the fine-grained movements on the standard deviations, et cetera. The purple lines are the acceleration metric of the standard deviation, or you could consider it the volatility of volatility. That's not quite right because volatility of volatility sort of has its own calculations. There's a few different ways to do it. This would be a unique way to do it. Anyways, it would not be surprising to see NVIDIA just roll in this channel, right? So you see these purple bands here, these clusters, they're kind of faint, but it would not be surprising to see NVIDIA roll like this in these bands. All right, so don't need to talk too much about stocks. Maybe we should talk about the Shanghai index. So again, we talked about China last week. This is an interesting data point. They have been in kind of a bear market for an entire decade, basically. And they're getting ready to break out. They are currently in the process of breaking out. This does not feel like a fake out. This feels real to me. Effectively, they've now closed 1 week, 2 weeks above the line. Yeah, you don't want to see the red candle. That red candle isn't great, but I mean, again, this is 10 years in the making. Maybe this could chop sideways for some period of time and then go up. But overall, unless something crazy, major, horrible happens, Iran goes into World War III or whatever, aside from some crazy macro shit, Shanghai's going up. Shanghai's definitely going to go up there. Anything else we could look at? We should look at the ratio, the NASDAQ to the S&P. So this is NASDAQ equals tech stocks, S&P equals, I don't know, blue chip, more stable stuff, not tech stocks, and an assortment of the highest market cap stocks, which in a lot of ways it's just composed of the FANGs, right? Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, Google. I don't know. Is Netflix still in there? Maybe we could just replace the in Netflix for NVIDIA. I don't know what NVIDIA's market cap is, but anyways, this chart is definitely looking like it's on the upswing. This has a steady, overall, the NASDAQ outgains the S&P over long periods of time. We sort of went sideways ever since that 2021 bear market, but now things seem to be getting back into the swing of things, and this chart probably going to continue going up over a period of time. So your better bet is tech stocks. That makes sense, of course, with the AI craze happening. Okay, I think we had a XMR chat. I just see it here. Two of them, actually. So first we have dude. Let me see. Was it really XMR chat? Tip too much. For body. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry. Dude tip 0.5 Monerotopia. He says for body. I often think I see XMR's price move leading Bitcoin by a day. Would you have a way to show how often that happens? Yeah, you would need to basically pull the actual data and then do a comparison over every single candle, right? So it would be pretty easy. You actually wouldn't even need to pull the data. You could probably do it in PineScript, but you would just subtract the price differential and then plot it across like a flat zero plane or a zero line, and then see if there's you would like take an integral, or really you would just take a moving average, and you would just see, does that moving average spend more time in positive territory or negative territory? So it wouldn't actually be that hard if you think you see that, but you'll have to do a little bit of finagling with the data. If you have a TradingView account, you can just download. You could download the data. You could probably do this in Excel if you wanted to, or if you wanted to learn PineScript, or you could just vibe code it. The AI's I think they finally got their PineScript game going. A few years ago, I was trying to use it, and it was just crap. But yeah, you could definitely look at that. I don't know. I haven't looked at it personally. We also had REMC tipped 1 Millenaro, or wait, 0.1 Millenaro. Could we please get body analysis on TLT and the bond market? Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at bonds. They pumped today. TLT, let's take a look at that right now. Oh, it's a tech stock. It's a NASDAQ. Oh my God. Why is it falling? It's just the hourly. Maybe it's not so bad. All right. Let's look at the long chart. Actually, you know what? Let's start with the weekly. Let's figure out what this chart looks like. Oh my God, this is terrible. Bro, this is a really bad chart. I don't know what this is. iShares 20-year Treasury bond ETF. Oh, okay. Yeah, right. Wow, God, that looks so bad. But it is bonds, so they do try to keep them stable. So despite how bad this looks, it might not be as bad as it seems, right? It's historically low, right? It's historically back in the aughts, in the 2000s. We're basically back at that level. I don't know. I guess you could expect this to rebound. Maybe the bond market is being really interesting right now because everyone sees what I'm seeing, that stocks are going up and there's no reason to think they're not going to go up, and the macro is ready and everything's ready and they're just going to keep going. So who the fuck wants to buy a bond, right? So in that case, if no one's buying bonds, then you have to offer higher and higher rates to entice people to buy the bonds instead of just getting into the stock market where the gains are. And so that causes rates to go up. Actually, let's just be schizophrenic all day long, and we'll just skip to the bond market right now. So you can see what happened here on the daily. These are all of the different bonds for those of you that might be new. You can see on the left here, we've got the 3-month, 6-month, 1 year, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30 year. And then on the bottom, this is actually the spread. If you subtract every single one of these from every single other one of these, you get the full overall picture of the bond, of the yield curve, of the spread between long-term bonds and short-term bonds. And right now we're in positive territory. So in other words, long-term bonds are yielding longer than short-term bonds, as they're supposed to. But what happens is you get these inversions sometimes, and usually inversions imply an impending market crash. Apparently inversions or near inversions don't actually imply that anymore. I don't know how they managed to do it, but something changed with the with the disease that shall not be named when the economy caught a cold. Yeah, so I don't know how they managed to do it, but they got this thing out of negative yield curve and into positive yield curve territory with really, I mean, I don't know how they did it. Like, again, there was almost no bear market. There was like the 2022 bear market, but that was sort of like the yield curve was inverting as the bottom was happening. And then the inversion, like everything just went out of order this time. So that's a good reason to just know that, remember, markets learn. So when you see a pattern and you identify a pattern, you're probably not the only one identifying it. There's probably other people doing that too. And markets learn. And then that kind of like screws up the signal. So this could have been front running by a bunch of people. It could have just been that the Keynesian school has figured out how to manipulate the markets even harder, even better, so that so past patterns don't play out. That would make sense. Whatever, who knows? But the point is that bonds have been rising. You can see bonds have been steadily going up, really for about a year now. They've kind of been holding steady, but it depends on which bond we want to look at. Of course, they really peaked out over here, kind of had this downward trajectory for a couple years, and then well, at least the shorter term, the short term yields, and now the shorter term yields are also rising. Along with the long term yields, and again, it makes sense because, as we talked about, the stock market is just like crushing it. So, I don't see any reason for this to stop. This might have implications for Tether's market cap, which sounds totally unrelated, but it's not, because Tether's one of the largest bondholders, and they're pretty sure at this point, Tether is just like a pool of dark money that the United States government can use to cover shortfalls in bond purchases. They probably can't ride that too much. They have to manage it a little bit. I think they used to have to use dark pools of money in like fucking Liechtenstein and other random ass places where they could just like inject random dark money to purchase U.S. bonds. Excuse me, just getting some coffee there. Okay. That's about all I can say about the bond market. That's all I got to say about that. I might as well take a look at credit spreads. Credit spreads are also, so we talk about macro. Credit spreads are also telling us that nothing is happening. Everything is fine. Your corporate, the corporate rate is very low. In other words, people trust corporations, to buy their bonds or whatever. The spread between the corporate bond rate and the government bond rate is very low. When tragedy happens in the market, corporations have to offer really high rates on their corporate bonds because the government's always good for it. They can always print the money, but corporations can't print money. So during times of woe and want and uncertainty, you end up in a situation where corporations, where these spreads go really high. So, all right, that should be enough for bonds. We don't need to talk anymore about bonds. So boring bonds, but we do have to actually know what they're doing. Let's take a look at the macro. Balance sheet continues to increase. M2 is increasing. Of course it is. They're going to keep doing that. Repos, don't need to mention them. Yeah, nothing else there that matters. All right, let's go to gold.
Audie.
Yo.
What do you think about the CPI? Apparently it rose like 0.6 to 3.8%.
CPI is irrelevant right now, but if it rises too much, it could become relevant again. Are these brand new numbers? Did we just get a release? Did I miss a release?
May 12th. Looks like.
Consumer price index. It should be maybe. I feel like I don't have the latest numbers here on this chart. Let me reload. Maybe that's the problem. I just reloaded, so it should be there, but aha, there we go. It did need a reload. Yeah, so there's the new, wow, okay. That is a pretty big jump over the past 2 months. This, of course, makes sense. In fact, Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve dudes, they all they predicted this. Of course, it's obvious, it's predictable. When oil goes up, energy goes up, everything goes up because everything is made with energy, embodied energy in every product that you have, from your t-shirts to your car. So yeah, and it's going to cause more inflation. So the CPI numbers are ticking higher on the basis of the Iran war. No surprise there. Let's see here. What's funny is the producer price index has spiked significantly. In fact, this is actually kind of concerning because, I'm really glad you pointed this out. I didn't realize we had new numbers. Because if we go backwards in time, like significantly backwards in time, back to the was it named Volkner? Yeah, I think I always get that guy's name wrong. It starts with a V and it has a U in it. I think it's Volkner. Anyways, during the days back in the 70s, after they severed the gold standard, if you guys will tolerate my Nixon voice, to protect the dollar against the speculators, they severed the gold standard. And so yeah, we had this big fucking spike in inflation. Of course we did, because they just started printing dollars recklessly. And then you had a double spike, right? They got it back down. Oh, everything's fine. And then it spiked up again. So right now we're looking at this and we're saying, is this a double spike? And if it is a double spike, it's on purpose. They did it on purpose, by the way. If they double spike the inflation, it was 100% planned. Trump is 100% an insider, and fuck anyone that thinks that he's not, because that's his whole point here was to do a bunch of shit that he said he would never do, like starting new wars, and like making the price of oil high and setting inflation high. So if they continue this war, like you can expect these numbers. In fact, it's probably a foregone conclusion that inflation is going to get back to 5%. The CPI is going to get back to 5% probably at this point, unless they fucking cap this war out. I don't know. Maybe I'm speaking ahead of myself, but it does seem like shit's kind of fucked here. And I am worried now that we get another double spike in inflation. That'll probably piss a lot of people off. I don't know if they want to do that. People might actually stop paying taxes at that point. So maybe I do want to see the inflation spike. You know what? Fuck it. Let's go for it. Oil 150, inflation 10%. That'll also spell gains for gold, by the way. All right, so which we were going to go to. Let's go to gold. Yeah, gold doesn't look good, guys. Actually, you know what? Before we go to gold, let's take a look at the dollar index, and this will help to. What I'm going to say about gold this will help to put it in perspective. We're looking at the dollar index, and it's generally tends to be inversely correlated to gold, but not always. But overall, it is at least mildly inverse to gold. Okay, so this is the monthly chart. You can see we're going all the way back to 2008. We got some pleb lines drawn here. We got this guy, right? We got this guy. I can grab it. This guy. So, and then we have these guys at the bottom. These guys at the bottom are our more relevant lines, particularly this one. So I know that humans hallucinate patterns even where they don't exist. So just keep that in mind as I say this, but I'm seeing some kind of congruence here. Notice we have the connection point. We have a little dip below the trend line, and then we have another connection point. And right now, so that happened, 2014 was the end of that pattern. We started that pattern again in 2021, right? So we have a touch point. Then we have a place where we kind of got below that point. It's not as severe as this one, but we kind of got below it for a long period of time, for many months. And And so if this pattern plays out, you would expect a rebound. You would expect, so, kind of like riding this line below this line, you would expect a rebound here to some level, I don't know, somewhere in the 102 to maximum probably 109. And if that happens, if the dollar index starts going higher, starts climbing higher and higher, that's going to spell massive pressure against the gold price, right? Again, because of the inverse correlation. Now, it'll probably come back down eventually. Maybe it'll like continue to play out and do something like that. Right now, this is still in an uptrend, right? This is still a 2 decades long uptrend for the dollar index. So with that context in mind, let's actually quickly take a look at the daily. So right now, I mean, there is still a good chance, there is still the possibility that this thing doesn't blow to the top side immediately, right? We've got a reasonably good established band structure, lower upper standard deviations. Yeah, maybe we could do that. Maybe we could continue doing something like this for quite a few months. So I'm not saying this thing has to blow to the top side right now. I'm just saying that, there does, usually it just goes sideways. So, but sometimes it breaks out. And right now, like, I'm not confident about that. And the gold chart doesn't look particularly good at this moment. It could just be taking a little cool off period. The cool off period could last many more months, and maybe it blows to the top side again, depending on geopolitics and, oil and all that stuff. I do feel like there's a heavy impetus for the cabal, or the cabal has kind of an impetus to put pressure against gold as much as they can, because they don't want the BRICS, and they don't want people going away from the dollar. They need the dollar strength, which is part of the oil, the petrodollar, which is the Iran war, which we've talked about a lot here. But this chart does not look so great to me. Like, it intuitively feels toppy, right? Especially if we go to the 4 hour. So the 4 hour gives us a better sort of view on the band structure, right? On the statistics structure. And right now, this is not good action. Now, I've seen plenty of charts that do this for some period of time and then come back up. You really would expect that gold should hit the top of this blue standard deviation. When charts don't do normal things like that, it's usually because there's a significant manipulative hand behind it. To prevent like basic statistical levels from being reached. And you can also see where gold massively exceeded the acceleration metric, right? This is what you call jerk, when your acceleration is changing. Because if we were to calculate the volatility of volatility, right? So the third standard deviation, effectively, similar concept. You would be measuring jerk, which is how much is acceleration changing. And so this blow off on gold here that happened at about 5,500 was way above even the basic acceleration metric. So that's what you call jerk, and that tells you that something like significant is happening. Anyways, so I don't know, guys. Like, I'm just not convinced about this gold chart anymore. It's not a bad idea to find a moment here to take some profits. I don't know, buy some land, buy some land, make some pemmican, figure out how to make your own ammunition, since they're like always trying to ban ammunition everywhere all the time. Yeah, gold not looking good. Sorry to be the one to say that here, but gold not looking good. Nevertheless, fuck it. Like, it's still a reasonably good asset. You can still hold it for long periods of time, especially if you have physical stores. Don't go sell your physical gold. That's your reserves. You don't sell your reserves. You rarely touch your reserves unless you absolutely have to. But, maybe you've been holding a gold ETF. Maybe you have something stored in a bullion vault, or maybe you can like find a gold for land deal. I don't know. Maybe, the American countryside, you probably have a lot of conservatives, a lot of country folk that still find the value in gold. All right. Oil just doing the sideways thing like we talked about. I wouldn't expect it to break out of this triangle yet. Maybe sometime in the middle of the summer. Maybe we could look for a June, July, August break. August might be a little bit late, probably. We're probably looking somewhere mid-June to late July for this chart to break one way or the other. Look to geopolitics. I don't really pay attention to it enough. I'm sorry, guys. Just been really hella busy for the past couple months now. But geopolitics is going to tell you whether the oil chart's going to break towards the top or the bottom side. At least that's my take there. Let's look at the Z-scores on everything. Yeah, so you can actually see that bonds fell off, right? Bonds are falling off in terms of their value. So the value of existing bonds is going down because the rates are going up. Who wants an old bond yielding at a lower rate when you can get a new bond yielding at a higher rate, right? So this overall forces the value of the bond market down. And again, like we said, it's all this week. The trade was into the dollar index. You can see the dollar index took a nice little big spike. Gold sort of flattening out here. Commodities flat. Stocks, at least as of the past week, stocks have. How is that possible? That can't be. They dropped off a little bit. Did I miss something? Did the Nasdaq go down and I just missed it? That can't be right. Where did we start? Friday. All right, so the Nasdaq was flat actually. Okay, that makes sense. The Nasdaq was flat, and the S&P was. I thought. I mean, it set new all-time highs, but maybe it ended flat. Yeah. Okay. I guess the S&P ended. Wow. Okay, it ended the week slightly down, but it did put on a new all-time high this week. So, I mean, when we're talking about stocks putting on a new all-time high intra-week is like that's an important signal. Same thing for the Nasdaq. So they ended slightly down to last week, which is why we're seeing a slight drop on the Z-score here. But overall, like again, the direction is still up on stocks. All right, let's take a little bit closer look. We talked about Monero. We might come back to Monero. Let's take a little bit closer look at the crypto market. Yeah. So okay, Bitcoin with this fake out thing, like, this is concerning. This shouldn't happen. In a strong market, you should at least continue to be in this band, and then you should try to like push up against that. So right now, this is feeling fake out, but they jack the markets every which way. For all I know, this thing reverses on a dime and goes towards the upside this week. I honestly, at this point, couldn't give you a good recommendation, on buy or sell here. Probably everyone thinks it's going up, so they'll push it down, they'll wick it down, and then they'll like push it to the top side. Oh, I remember one thing I wanted to show you guys. This wick right here. So let me zoom in here. Let's actually clear the wave magic. Monero had a minus 10% flash crash. So we're on the 4-hour candles. Let's go to the 15-minute candles. See if we can. Oh my God, it's still a wick. What is this? Tuesday, 5/12 at 16:15. All right, let's go to the 1-minute chart. And then I think it's Alt G. Yeah. At what did we say? 15:16. Scroll. 15:15 should be close enough. There it is. So this is the Kraken chart. I didn't check the other exchanges. I should have. Yeah, Kraken on the 1-minute chart, flash crash minus 10% within 1 minute. So that's really weird. That indicates a kind of like liquidity issue. That's also not generally good when it comes to price action. Let's see if we can find somewhere else that might be trading. I guess Bitfinex, sure, whatever. Why not? Let's go back to the 1-minute chart. Oh, I shouldn't have left that location.
What day did you say that was?
That was Tuesday, May 12th.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so we're actually not seeing the same wick flash crash. What's the bottom there? 395. Let's go to Kraken. Come on, why won't you, stupid trading view, take me to the same place that I was? Yeah, okay, so Bitfinex didn't have that same crash. We're actually in real time looking at this because I didn't look at the other exchanges. Poloniex doesn't count. They're gay. They're faking gay. All right, what about XMR USDT? Qcoin, yeah, I guess a lot of people trade on Qcoin. Let's try to find them again. Alt G. Yeah, okay, so it was only Kraken. That's interesting because I mean Kraken should be the primary liquidity into the holy sanctified and blessed approved KYC markets, right? Whereas all those other exchanges, for the most part, Bitfinex is also, I guess, a connection into there, so maybe they count, but I don't think they have like huge volumes XMR on Bitfinex. Maybe I haven't checked that in a while. Actually, that would be interesting to check. Let's XMR Bitfinex, and then let's look at the volume. What are they doing here? Well, if it would tell me. Where are we? Sorry, slowing down here. Pin to scale on the left, and they're doing about 8,000 to 15,000 XMR worth of volume. And it's more like 2,500 to 15,000 XMR worth of volume. Let's see what Kraken is doing. Kraken doing significantly more, basically averaging around 7,000, peaking out at like 45,000 XMR per day. And let's take a look at that wick. Let's go to the 1 hour. We'll find that wick. That's the wick right here. Yeah, so it was a big volume. It looked, I guess somebody volume sold for about 2,500 XMR. Still though, like that's not that much. You know, what is 2,000 XMR? About $1 million. you should be able to sell $1 million of XMR on Kraken without crashing the price by 10%. Anyways, I don't know who sold. Let's just blame Fluffy Pony. He's an easy culprit these days. Just playing Fluffy. All right, let's go to the shitcoins. The quote unquote privacy shitcoins, privacy trademark registered shitcoins. All right, Xano pulled back this week a little bit. Okay, cool. Whatever. Actually, this doesn't look like the worst chart ever. They're now in some kind of like upswing. They're above their standard deviation bands. They're probably hoping that the rest of the market continues going up, because I don't see how they're going to support the liquidity to continue moving this chart up without the rest of crypto going with it. Firo taking a big pullback, but it had a massive pump. Hey, here, remember last week we said Pirate Chain that they might be able to find a way to get something going. There's 20%. If the market keeps going, Pirate Chain will probably pump. Don't believe that it's a real pump. If you have pirate coins, if you have RMAT, then just sell your fucking R on every single fucking pump, because that's what they're doing to you. They had 90% of the supply and they're just dumping on you. And so if you ever get the chance, when that shit pumps, sell them like that. That's just the name of the game for Pirate from now on until forevermore. It'll take, who knows, 5-10 years. Who the fuck knows how long it'll take them to unload all their coins on the Jeff Berwick anarchists that bought into that shit. Sorry guys, but you got duped. Cubic, supposedly Cubic's gonna attack again, I guess. Cubic's gonna, I saw someone say Cubic has been popping up in their feed lately. I don't know what Pubic and comes from his bum is gonna, I don't know what they got planned, but right now it's not looking so good for them. Tari still trying to pretend like it's another bottom. Okay, cool story, bros. I'll believe you when you 10x. And then Zcoin. Zcoin, Ztrash, Zcash. I can't even say their name right anymore because it's trying to come up with ways to insult them. Oh, I shouldn't insult them. They're a nice little science project that is turning into a nice little scam project. They got above their standard deviations. They're pulling back. If Bitcoin wants to keep going, if it's not a fake out and we manage to keep putting on some gains here steady, it could happen. You could see some steady little slow gains all the way into midsummer. If we don't really break out, if this chart doesn't ever break out, then, so for example, let's just do a hypothetical. Let's do some dubious hypothetical speculation here on Bitcoin. If the Bitcoin price continues to do something like this all the way into the summer, and then we get into August and it's still inside of this stupid channel right here. Sorry. Let's suppose it's still inside of this, like below this line, somewhere inside this channel like that. That's just nonsense. That's just like trying to push the market higher. If that's the case, then my guess is that eventually it's going to break down and then go for the actual low on the 4-year cycle, which is kind of what it's. I mean, it's kind of just continued to happen over and over again. Even when everyone thought it couldn't happen, it just happened again and again and again. Like including the top, right? Including the really shitty ass 125 high that no one believed could possibly be the high. Just like no one believed that 70K could be the high or 80K could be the high in 2021. So anyways, right now this chart it just feels dubious. This is not strong action. It should have broken out already. If there's organic buying and excitement, this chart should already be broken out. So I don't like the way this unfolded. I'm not saying it's a fake out because the fucking cabal could push it whichever way they really want to. That's the kind of power they have in these markets to some extent, right? With limitations, right? You can only take that so far. All right, let's see here. We got the dominance. Is Bitcoin fucking totally dominating? Are they having a totally nice day? I don't know. It looks like so far, yes. I don't know where this chart goes. Here's some resistance. I don't know. You could easily get into this zone right there. And shitcoins are dying, so it's plausible, right? That could happen. If that happens, I really think there's a solid chance that Monero basically just keeps pace. Maybe look at the ratio here. Ratio is still flat. Ratio is still doing nothing. Again, I don't expect any reason why this should start doing something all of a sudden here. It could, right? It could, but the problem is I just don't see the excitement, the movement in crypto, the volume, none of that, right? So things have kind of found a steady state pace in crypto for quite a while here, including the XMR BTC ratio. So until something fundamentally changes, then how is this going to change? It could, right? Anything can happen, but so far, like nothing has happened there with that ratio. So I don't think things will continue not happening with the ratio. I guess that's all, guys. Let me check the comments, make sure there's nothing else anyone wants to see. Conwonk likes my profanity. Salute to you, sir or ma'am. We need a swear word. Yeah, maybe we should put a swear word counter, and then I have to like eat a tiny little flake of soap afterwards every time. All right, guys. Yeah, I guess that's all. That's all I got. Thanks, Roy. Roy TX7ZX. XMR to gold. All right, we can look at XMR to gold. There's nothing happening with this chart either. Again, so like crypto languishing, gold pushing sideways. Maybe it'll go down. There's a pretty wide range here. You know, minus 50%. To sort of plus 50%, and we're almost in smack dab in the middle of that range. So, you know, gold could drop 50%, and we'd still be in this kind of like band structure. You know, if you really wanted to, you could probably just flip in and out between XMR and gold. If you can find a place that'll do that. I think Money Metals, I don't know if they still offer XMR. I haven't checked in a long time, but Money Metals used to offer XMR for gold and gold for XMR. So you could hypothetically play this range, right? Sell into gold up here and then buy Monero, you know, down here at these levels. So that could actually be a pretty successful trading strategy if you didn't really want to get into the like I was talking about the stock market game earlier. If you didn't really want to get into that, you could flip ratios like that. And also you can just get exposure to gold on on Ethereum, since I know how much everybody here loves Ethereum. You could definitely get onto Ethereum and buy the I guess PAX G. I would probably buy PAX G, but at this point, since Tether is basically the deep state, you could also probably buy Tether Gold and you'd basically be okay. You know what I'm saying? So you wouldn't even need to actually use Money Metals or whatever to hold physical. You could just buy the token, which is actually something I've kind of been meaning to do, is to maybe kind of play that ratio. But, you know, there's better things to do in life than just spend your days trading. All right. Could do paper gold on Hyper. Okay, yeah. I guess Hyperliquid. I didn't know they have paper gold on Hyperliquid. I got to get onto Hyperliquid. It's actually here. Like I have the fucking thing up here. Like it's on my to-do list, guys. I just enjoy so much more doing projects and coding, like the Monero simulation. You know, I'm gonna present some findings on that here in a few weeks. So and I do some other stuff. So I don't know. I need to get back into the trading game at some point. I'm sure I will. And then I'll have like even higher quality short-term forecasts for you. All right, that's it, guys. That's all I got. Let me hand it back to Mr. Doug, Mr. Shortwave.
All right, thank you there, Body. Great price report today.
Thanks, man.
All right, thanks, Buddy. Much appreciated. Oh, Buddy, you didn't touch on Thorchain. Did you see what happened this week?
Yeah, they got hacked. Fuck Thorchain. Sorry. I know you had them on the show. I'm sorry, guys, but like y'all keep getting hacked. How many times is it now? This is like number 5. Like, okay. Don't vibe code your shit.
Brutal. Yeah. Well, I am wishing them the best. We'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see good stuff, you know, come from them, but at this point, it's kind of like doubt.
It's funny to see Fluffy Pony pounce on them right away. You know, it's like, did you ever launch Tari, bro? Like, I mean, come on, man. Have a little decency. I don't know.
If he had launched Tari along the timeline he said he would, it would have mega pumped with everything else. Like, all this private smart contracts platform, you know, like, it would have been amazing.
But the fact that he's teamed up with Wagyu now, and like, you know,
somebody should code like a Tari, like one of those like Tari fountains, like a wishing well, that would like burn that amount of Tari every time you throw a thing into the wishing well.
Bro, that would be an amazing exit scam. The crypto wishing well, where you just toss, you know, little pennies into the contract, and you say that it's like, I don't know, through some crazy obfuscation, you make it look like it's a burn address, but it's really not, and then you just fucking grab all the pennies that were deposited in the wishing well.
Oh, nice.
This is a good chainmail kind of scam. It would work in a bull market for sure. You could like put some like voodoo magic on it, you know, like you could put like a Hindu with like a Shiva thing. Like you could have different like depository places where it's like deposit to Jesus, deposit to Allah, deposit to Buddha, you know, just like have a different one for each.
Buddy, just to price, I do have a question. So you were talking about oil, that it's either going to break up or break down, right? Depending on the, I guess, politics, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So do you think that's going to determine where crypto goes? Like if we're out of the bear market or not, essentially, the way oil breaks?
It could be the case that maybe short term it has a big impact on the markets. Like if, let's suppose oil breaks towards the upside. That'll crush gold. That'll probably crush crypto, and it'll probably push stocks at least sideways, if not pullback. If we get a big break up in the price of oil. And then maybe, maybe it comes back down and they declare some resolution. That would actually make a lot of sense given what's happened so far.
How
some
many more
big
times
blow-off
can they
top.
do that? I don't know. I feel like they're running out of time to keep doing that, but maybe they could do it one more time.
They just have to escalate the war and make things worse and, whatever, and then make it sound horrible and dire, and then be like, oh, wait, no, we found a resolution. Just kidding. Yeah.
When you least expected. Yeah.
I mean, that would be par for the course at this point. You probably kind of have to expect something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I just keep in the back of my mind, I just keep seeing November as the drop dead date as to when things need to be back and flying high, sometime before then. But I don't know. Maybe all that's off the table. Maybe that was, Trump can care less.
Well, imagine this scenario. The stocks. So right now, my most confident play would actually be stocks. Get in the stock market, stay in the stock market, wait till at least a few months. So let's suppose stocks continue soaring. Who knows what crypto does? Maybe flat to slightly up. Stocks soar all the way into maybe August, September, and then some crazy shit happens, and oil pumps, and then they declare some victory in the Middle East day or whatever, and then oil drops back down, and then stocks are starting to rebound into the elections. Stocks would still be well above where they are now. So people wouldn't be complaining. They would just be like, oh, yeah, we had a pullback. We got a lot of mad gains on stocks. We had a pullback. Yep. It's fine. Buy the dip, right? That would be the mentality. So it wouldn't you don't need the stock market to be pumping all the way into the election is what I'm saying. Stocks don't have to be at all-time highs come November 4th.
Yeah, no, it's I am hoping that, crypto starts to catch up to the stocks, right? It's a little frustrating to watch and see. It's but it makes sense, right? They're going to be looking to take their profits somewhere too.
Did you know the war has cost 218.4 million Monero?
It's a lot of Monero.
Nice. We need a Monero war clock.
Not sure that much Monero exists.
It doesn't. That's the point. So the war has cost more Monero than exists.
Oil prices are suppressed because of reserves being released. Probably still going to break to the upside.
I don't know if I can agree with that one, actually. That the more that infrastructure gets built out, the more refineries, the more wells, the world is awash in oil. The United States has had to work very hard to keep the price of oil from collapsing. That's just the general trend over long periods of time. Even with inflation, oil still is below its all-time highs from decades ago. I don't know, 2 decades ago. Let me check just to give the correct number here. Monthly chart. 2 decades ago, 2008, oil peaked at 150, just below 150, and we still, despite all the inflation of the past 2 decades, we still haven't beat that number. So overall,
that's pretty crazy. What year was that? That was
2008.
2008.
Yeah.
Financial crisis.
Yeah, actually, my thinking on oil is that it's, if you think about it, more refineries, again, more oil wells, better technology for extracting that oil, cheaper to refine it, better processes. The trend for the price of oil is down and makes sense to be down. The U.S. cabal tries to keep that propped up because of the petrodollar. They need a reasonably good price of oil, not too low, not too high.
How about in 2020 when it went negative? Remember that? That was freaking awesome.
Did
you go in? Did you go all in oil at that point, buddy? I didn't have the means or the way.
I'm not on the traditional markets. I should be. I fucking should be. I missed so much opportunity by not being on traditional markets. You watch Rick and Morty? You ever seen that show?
I know the show, but no, I don't watch it.
There's this stupid moment where where Rick collapses the Galactic Empire, and he's like, "Now watch, kids, as I collapse an empire by changing a 1 to a 0." And they're like, "Oh my God, sir!" They went to the president of the Galactic, which is the White House, basically. Sir, our single centralized currency, it used to be worth 1 of itself, and now it's worth 0 of itself, which is what happened with the fucking oil, going negative. They just changed a 1 to a 0.
It was crazy. The Matrix broke. All right. Actually, we have Orange Friend. He's ready to jump up. So let's go ahead and move it along. Baldy, thank you so much, man.
Thanks, bro. See you.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cake Wallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cake Wallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right, Orange Friend, what's going on, man?
Hey guys.
How's it going? Thanks for jumping up.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yes, of course. So, have we met in person? Did we meet
Yes,
at Monerocon?
we've
We
met
did, right?
in Prague.
Yeah, I think it was
Definitely.
as I was running out. I was like leaving, I had to head back. I think it was my last day. It was
Yeah, we
right.
chatted in front of the venue just as the police were entering it.
Exactly. So how you doing, man? How's it been since then? It looks like you made a lot of progress since we spoke outside of Monerocon, I guess two years ago now. And now you're running Monerocon.
I am, yes. Just for this year, I think. I don't think we'll be doing it again. Well, maybe, we'll see. But this year is because the original team of volunteers who were organizing the past events, they said that they can't do one this year because they felt burnt out. They didn't have the time or the resources to do it. So we decided to take it off of their hands and organize it ourselves. And so rather uniquely for Monerocon, we're kind of doing it together with another event because we're doing it together with the Bitcoin Film Fest, which is this kind of weird artsy event all about Bitcoin in cinema, Bitcoin in art, stuff like that. So we're kind of sharing the venue with them, actually.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I love Warsaw, by the way. What is the venue? Where is the venue?
So the venue is Kinoteka, which is in the very, very heart of Warsaw. There's a building there. It's called the Palace of Culture and Science.
Yes,
and
that huge communist building.
Yeah, it used to be the tallest building in the country until I think 4 years ago. And so it's the most central location we could pick in the whole country. And at its ground level, there is a cinema. And so we are taking over basically one floor of the cinema. It has 2 floors, and we're taking over one floor together with the Bitcoin Film Fest.
That's awesome. And how long is the film fest? It's also like 4 days?
Yeah. So the Bitcoin Film Fest also lasts, well, technically it lasts like 1 day longer because they start on first day, but they only do like a small party on the first day. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they have their screenings and their workshops and their various events in parallel with Monerocons. Although we've arranged it such that Monerocon talks and workshops happen from 10 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. And then there's an hour-long break. And then the best of the best movies that are shown on the Bitcoin Film Fest are shown. So if you want to, there's not too much, you don't have to worry too much about missing out on anything too high of a quality on the Bitcoin Film Fest side. Unless you're interested in, for example, they're doing a workshop about using AI to create movies, but that's probably not something that's super interesting to most of the Monerocon people. So if that's not really up your alley, then you don't really have to ever skip anything, and you get 2 events at the price of 1, really. So that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. How long has the Bitcoin Film Fest been going on?
This year is the 4th edition. So it's not as old as Monerocon. Yes. They always had the exact same venue. When they started off, it was a side event to a bigger event, which was a Weekend of Capitalism event. And the Bitcoin Film Fest was just like a small side event to that. But it grew enough that, although it's still smaller than Monerocon, it's only like 200 people max. And that means it's like 150 people in the venue, at the absolute maximum. So it's not as old as Monerocon. And
all the films are Bitcoin related films? No.
Yes.
That's crazy that there's that much content to have 4 days of film fest for that's pretty incredible.
Although most of them are quite short. I mean, maybe there are 30 minutes. I think the average runtime is like 30, 40 minutes. So there's not that many which are feature length. Although there are a few, like for example, there is the Finding Satoshi movie, which I think HBO released last year, about how I forget the guy, his name, but the guy who always pushed for mempool full RBF on Twitter, how they
Peter Todd.
Satoshi. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
he was
they
at
made-
Monerotopia a couple of years ago. He was one of the speakers at Monerotopia.
Okay. Yeah, I know that he's quite sympathetic towards Monero. I think he likes tail emissions.
Yeah, he likes tail emissions. He's always the ultimate critic of pretty much anything. But yeah, there's things about Monero he likes. He likes the concept of Monero, I think. But ultimately, he's very much a Bitcoin maxi. I mean, that's right. He's always been.
Actually, the Bitcoin Film Fest is a maxi event, and
they
continue to promote
right
themselves as a maxi event. And the logic was from the founder of the BFF that Monero is like the only coin that the maxis are willing to talk about. But last year, I attended the Bitcoin Film Fest because I found some sponsors for them. And I remember I went to the VIP dinner, which they had on one of the days. And I was talking with a guy. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was a maxi. And he got a little bit tipsy. And at one point, he had no idea that I have anything to do with Monero. And he leaned to the side and he whispered to my ear that, like, I have a little bit of Monero. Don't tell anyone. The maxis at the Bitcoin Film Fest, secretly, if you get them a little bit tipsy, they might just admit to owning some Monero.
That's funny, man. It's awesome that you guys linked up with them. I think that's a great idea. And I'm sure some of those maxis will come check out MoneroCon for sure. They're going to want to go hang out with you guys, talk with you guys. So I think that's fantastic. How many people are you guys expecting at this point?
So as of today, we have around 120 or 130 people that's counting the tickets that were sold, the volunteers, and the vouchers that we sent out for free to sponsors and speakers, such as Body himself. So that's about 130, but most people, at least in the past, bought MoneroCon tickets at the very last minute. They bought it like a week before, 2 weeks before. We're currently, I think, 20 days away from MoneroCon, so I expect it to go a little bit higher. And if you are buying a ticket, you don't need a separate ticket to attend the Bitcoin Film Fest screenings. The tickets to the MoneroCon and the Bitcoin Film Fest both cost exactly the same. And they both grant you access to talks and workshops and screenings of films on either side of the venue. The only difference is the Bitcoin Film Fest has like this VIP dinner and stuff, and there you have to pay like 500 euros to attend. So it's kind of a VIP event. But otherwise, you don't need 2 tickets. If you just want to come and you want to maybe go watch a movie or something. And actually, the MoneroCon ticket is slightly better because we have partnered with one of our sponsors, the exchange instant swapper called exchange.me, and they are paying for vouchers for a free bucket of popcorn every day for MoneroCon attendees. But if you get the Bitcoin Film Fest ticket, you only get 1 bucket of popcorn for the whole event. So it's 3 times better to get the MoneroCon ticket, and they cost exactly the same.
Even if you're just going to the Bitcoin Film Festival, you should get the MoneroCon ticket.
Yes,
that's funny.
Yes, definitely.
That's awesome, man. It's going to be great. Yeah, I have fond memories of Poland. I've been there a couple times. Haven't been there in a long time, though. So is that where you guys are out of? Are you out of Poland?
Most of the team, yes, although not everyone. Previously, for a time, we did things like translations for instant exchanges, and we translated like local Monero and their like Monero knowledge hub into various languages, and then we had to get people from all over Europe. But yeah, most of the team is from Poland, and almost all of the volunteers running this year's MoneroCon are also from Poland, because they kind of have to be, because the venue being what it is, it's extremely common for people to walk in confused because they want to get up to the viewing deck at the top of the building, and it's not that entrance. So you just have to have people who know the language and are local who will tell the lost tourists to use the other door.
Yeah, and Polish is not an easy language to pick up. Right? It's not that easy. Yeah, what was when you were mentioning translation, you were doing work translating for local Monero. Maybe you could help out with translating or help send us in the right direction for getting people to translate XMR Bazaar. We have Spanish translations on there, and we've added an easy way to add new translations, but now I'm looking for different people from different countries that want to be the XMR Bazaar local translator.
Oh yeah, sure.
I have some good thoughts
I
there.
remember you had translations. I never checked what they were.
Yeah,
English,
so far we
yeah,
only
just
have
English and Spanish. Okay.
We have English and Spanish. I think we have somebody who's going to work on the German one. Obviously, people could use AI, whatnot, but it's good to have a local, really get in there. Yeah, let me know if you have any thoughts on that. So, because you when you say your team, so who's this team? This is the Orange Friend team?
Yes. Although for the purposes of the event, we got quite a lot of local students from local universities in Poland to help out in exchange for a free ticket. Yeah, because
Awesome.
it's kind of, I don't know, kind of boring work maybe, and yeah, and some of them have like really cool stuff. Like one of our volunteers is a certified drone operator, so we're hoping to do some drone shots of the venue, like FPV drones flying through the venue and stuff with the booths and
Oh, that's cool. Very cool, man. So do you have speakers lined up, or speakers still rolling in? How's that going?
We already have all the speakers that I think that we will have. We have 31 talks and workshops on just the Monerocon side. And I think I don't think we'll have any more speakers because we've basically maxed out our capacity in terms of the schedule. So we have, I think it's already public. I can maybe send you a link. I'm not sure if you're able to show it.
Yeah, you could share
easily.
it if you want on your end. There's that little plus screen on the bottom.
I'm not set up to show my desktop right now,
Okay.
but yeah, you can. But yeah, we do have a schedule and we do have speakers confirmed. So yeah, we already know how many talks we'll have. We already know how many workshops we'll have.
Let me
And
bring up Monero.
unlike some of the past Monerocons, I think this one is relatively easy. Like if you're not very into cryptography, or because I remember in the past watching some talk at a Monerocon, I forget which one it was, but I was sitting there and I'm listening to someone talk, and I blinked like 5 minutes ago, and so I'm completely lost. I have no idea what's going on. There's integrals, there's fancy math. I'm terrified. I have no idea what's going on. So this year, it's, I think, much easier. I don't think there's any talk that's like extremely difficult to understand. I think all of them are. And I've also heard this from people who in the past didn't attend Monerocon. Like I asked them, hey guys, why didn't you come? And they said, well, I'm not like a developer or I'm not a cryptographer. Like you don't have to be any of those things. A lot of those talks are low level enough that you're going to enjoy them regardless. And aside from that, you don't actually have to attend the talks. You can just hang out with the sponsors. You can hang out with the other attendees, or you can just go watch the movies on the Bitcoin Film Fest side.
Yeah. So actually more like Monerotopia in that respect. Not everything's super high level math
Yes.
talks, right? Which I'm sure some of those as well. Is Luke Parker speaking?
I don't think that he is.
Okay.
I know Body is. I know HBS is. I know that Super Testnet, who is a bit of an infamous character over on the Monero side, he's doing a talk.
Guy, right?
Yeah. So he's doing a talk about, of course, about Lightning and Lightning versus Monero.
You need a debate. You need to get him and Body on a stage debating. Oh my God, that would be good.
I wanted to do that, but the only problem is that Super Testnet is not actually coming in person. which would make it a
Okay.
little bit awkward. But I really
Okay.
wanted to do it, and I actually talked to Buddy about it, and he was happy to do it as well. But yeah, Super Testnet is not coming. I don't know, he'll be doing it on Zoom or whatever.
Okay.
I will say he's a formidable debate partner. Like even when he's like totally wrong, he's or at least half wrong. Like he's really good. He's a really good debater. I had to prepare my ass off for that debate that we did last year.
Arctic Mind, I'm sure, is attending. He'll
Yes.
never miss a MoneroCon.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. How about Jay Bierman? Is he going? He's probably going to be still heads down on full chain membership proofs. I think that's what's going on. A lot of these guys want to keep working on full chain membership proofs. We had Jeff Rowe at Monerotopia. But yeah, I think a lot of them, right? They want to get to the finish line now with the full chain. Can't blame them for that.
Yeah, a lot of names like that are unfortunately missing this year. I mean, one thing also working against our favor is the fact that we had to announce quite late on. Like we had to announce, I think, 5 months in advance exactly, because there was, well, firstly, MoneroCon initially was canceled, so people didn't really think about talks all that much. Then there was an effort to do it in Serbia, and that didn't work out. But when that also kind of got canceled, so it's sort of like the event got canceled twice before it ever properly got announced. So a lot of people didn't really prepare anything. But I think the fact that we are partnering with the Bitcoin Film Fest kind of fixes that, because maybe we have slightly less content, maybe by 10 or 20% than we normally would. But at least we've got like this whole other event that's happening at the same time.
Yeah, and the content is great. Don't get me wrong, but the real value people get out of it is hanging out with everybody at the conference, including the speakers. And so, obviously, the talks are very important. Get everybody in that same room, do the Q&A, but the being outside of the talks and hanging out with everybody, that's where the real magic happens. So if people have more time to do that, that's not the worst thing in the world. We got some tips. This guy's recommending that we add timestamps to XMR chats. Body is concurring. If that is the same body. I just told the guys to add that to the list. Then we got another one over here. Evian X tipped 0.001 XMR. Buy a bucket of XMR stickers for the event, no matter if you go or not. And he posted his XMR Bazaar listing. Very cool. Yeah, man. Anything else you want to bring up regarding the conference?
So because you just brought up the XMR Bazaar listing, I remembered that some of the volunteers that are helping out are actually sellers on XMR Bazaar. And so
awesome.
that's something that they do like every day. And I don't remember how many, but they definitely sell stickers, and they told me like what their volume was, and I was very impressed. So there's a lot of a lot of normal guys who the only thing they really do with Monero, because they don't really invest, they're not developers, but like the only actual Monero only thing they do so far is XMR Bazaar.
That's amazing. I love hearing that. Yeah, that's why I got to get, and they're Polish. Those are locals.
Yes.
So yeah, we got to add a Polish translation to XMR Bazaar, and maybe get people adding to the map over there. I'd love to see some like local listings pop up on the map.
Well, if you weren't considering going to MoneroCon before, those extra 3 buckets of popcorn makes it worth it.
I would love to go, but yeah, as I told you, I don't think I could swing it this year. We got the baby another baby on the way, and we have a family event that weekend. I thought maybe I could like just come in for the weekend, but it's not looking like that's going to happen for me. But yeah, anybody who could go, I highly recommend people get over there. If you go to Monerotopia maybe, and you're fixing for some more of that. MoneroCon is the original beautiful conference. It's always a fantastic time. And like I said, the best part is you're just hanging out with fellow Monero bros. So no matter what the venue or the wherever you are, it's always a good time. But this sounds like it's actually going to be a very nice environment. Warsaw is beautiful, major city. It's a cool place to just be if you're looking to check out Europe. A lot of places you can get to from there. You can jump on the train, go to different parts of Europe. head to Germany, head to Hungary, explore Eastern Europe. So yeah, I highly recommend people do it. I know prices might be holding people back. I haven't checked New York to Warsaw flights, but I imagine flights are pretty expensive right now, given the oil situation.
We do have another thing that might sweeten the pie for some people. This is on the Bitcoin Film Fest side, but there is an AI film contest going on as part of the festival, and there's there's a prize to be won, and it's 2.5 million satoshis, which is around 5 Monero, in prizes overall. And so the first prize is about $1,000. The second prize is like 500, and the third is like $170, I think. And so if you like using AI, or I don't know, it's something you can even do with a kid or something, then if you make a movie that's between 1 and 15 minutes long, it doesn't have to be entirely made with AI, and then you submit it, then you might win, and that's the prize that you might get.
Very cool. That's being submitted to Monerocon or to the Bitcoin Film Festival, right?
That's only on the Bitcoin Film Fest side, although it's something that might be interesting to people because it's something that you can. It doesn't have to be strictly about Bitcoin. If you make an AI movie about Monero and it wins, I think it could win, and yeah, that won't be a problem.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, people get on that. Did you get the word out on that other than announcing it here?
Yeah, I think we've made some tweet about it or two. Yeah.
That's very cool. All right, man. Yeah. If there's maybe we could just if you wanna shill Orange Friend at all, tell us more about that.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this is the original project that I launched. This is back in 2022, I think. And it's orangefriend.com is this website that you can use to find and compare instant exchanges that don't require KYC. And you can find out about which pairs they support, about various warnings, stuff like that. We were the first to have a guarantee program, which basically works in a way that the exchanges that we have listed have provided us a deposit. The deposit varies in size, but it goes up all the way to like $25,000 or $30,000 from one exchange. And then if that swapper were to scam you in some way, we can use their own money to refund you, which has happened a few times in the past. The largest sums were always whenever an exchange would basically exit scam, which I think happened like twice. So yeah, and it's a website that you can use. It's all no KYC, and the entire trade happens on the exchange's website. It doesn't happen on our website. So we don't actually know anything about you aside from your search. If you do opt to make a search, then we'll only know that little bit. And one of the major benefits that you get using orangefriend.com for your swaps is that if something goes wrong, we have a lot of leverage with the swappers. Like just this week, there was a guy who sent, I forget the exact amount, but it was something huge. It was like a 6-figure amount in Litecoin. And so he basically got Litecoin from an instant exchange, and then he withdrew it to his own Litecoin address. Then he deposited it, or rather pegged it, into Mimblewimble. Afterwards, he pegged it out of Mimblewimble pretty much immediately, within like 1 hour. And then he sent that Litecoin back to the instant exchange to swap it for something. And they froze his order. And it took us a week worth of talking with the exchange to explain to them that how Mimblewimble works, that those weren't his coins, and that he got different coins upon pegging out of Mimblewimble. It was an absolute mess, but it was a week worth of work on our end. And we managed to get him his money back. Although, as I say, it took like endless hours, and we had to talk to the exchange. We had to talk to the company that does AML scoring for them. And I found out this week that they don't bother tracking Mimblewimble. They just pretend Mimblewimble doesn't exist. And they treat, if you get Litecoin from Mimblewimble and it's tainted, well, then skill issue. They don't care. So they just freeze it and they want your documents and stuff. But eventually we managed to get the user his money back, all of it, and with no KYC. But yeah, it's kind of a mess sometimes, especially if users have to deal with these swappers alone. Normally they wouldn't get the coins back in a situation like this.
So, out of curiosity, how would you compare yourselves to other swap providers that provide guarantees, such as Trocador or CipherGoat?
I think that we have the largest ones, the largest guarantees. And I know for a fact that our guarantees have been functioning for the longest time because we kind of invented the idea. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, and it's Orange Friend, Fren, correct?
Yes.
Because being American, I want to say Orange Friend, and I think that's wrong.
Yeah. The name comes from a meme, which is a deliberate misspelling of the word friend. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure that's correct.
So yeah, similar to like a Trocador, and you guys have been around. You're saying even perhaps longer than Trocador. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Yeah. We launched in January of 22. Yeah.
Amazing. So there you guys got it. Orange Friend. And are there any other Monero related projects that you're working on, that your group is working on?
No, not currently. No. I mean, the organizing MoneroCon is taking up all of our spare hours, unfortunately. I wish it weren't so.
I feel for you, brother. I know how much of an undertaking it is to run a conference, especially a Monero conference. So I definitely feel for you. It's not easy. Things get exponentially more difficult as more people get involved, right? You're just dealing with so many different people, so many different issues, a lot of moving parts, and obviously you want it to be good for everybody. So you have the stress of that on your shoulders. But I'm sure it'll all be great. You have the recipe for a good conference. The fact that you guys teamed up with the Bitcoin Film Festival is a great idea. So I think it'll be great. Yeah, man. So I notice sometimes you're tweeting, right? You tweet out takes on Zcash as well, right? You are often comparing the swap volume, right? Things that are happening between Monero and Zcash. What is your Monero versus Zcash takes?
I don't mind their technology, but their community is so incredibly inorganic. It's pretty amazing. They disappear routinely for like a few weeks. I don't see any tweets about Zcash. And then suddenly, out of the blue, Zcash pumps, and there's all these tweets coming out about how Zcash is amazing and stuff. But I have yet to see any real cypherpunk centric projects that Zcashers actually use. They like to throw around various very misleading terms. They like to say Zcash is quantum resistant. As far as I know, it isn't. They like to say it's encrypted Bitcoin, which is just ridiculous. No, it isn't. It's not Bitcoin. And yeah, okay. So I don't know. They don't seem to have, or, even like grassroots ideas like your own XMR Bazaar. They don't have anything like that. As far as I can tell, they kind of just, and all of them seem to be public figures too. I can't think of any like Zcasher that's like big and anonymous. Maybe I'm mistaken. But it seems very kind of inorganic, very like, it feels more like they're investing in privacy than actually trying to live it.
Yeah, I hear you on that. And they don't participate. I tried to get them to participate in Monerotopia, and yeah, they were like reluctant to do so. I'm like, here are the people that you should want to come communicate with, talk to. These are people that actually care about using untraceable digital cash. So yeah, it's a little weird in that respect. They're taking a different approach, right? Monero's grassroots. They're more, we're bottom from the bottom up. They're top down. It feels more like in Zcash land. But their tech is certainly interesting, and what they have on the horizon too, with becoming quantum, post-quantum. Their roadmap towards that is very interesting. So yeah, I certainly don't discount Zcash. Try to get them to participate more in things like Monerotopia, maybe even on XMR Bazaar if they want to, right? But they don't really seem to be interested in these concepts as much as we are in Monero land, which is actually using it to opt out and live off of. They're missing that component, which is probably the most important part.
I think it's quite telling that we have people who are Lightning maxis like Super Testnet who want to participate in Monerocon and want to debate Monero people, but we don't have anyone from the Zcash side. At least not that I've noticed.
Right. Like, where are they? They're trying to just ignore the fact that we exist.
I think there's a
what is that?
There's a drill. I think in outside.
That's what Monero people think of Zcash.
Nice soundtrack.
It sounds like a barge.
Yeah. I wonder if it'll come back. It's not my drill. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Sorry about that.
That's hilarious.
Someone's drilling into my house. Yeah. Okay. That's amazing. Okay.
Be safe, man. They found you. I
think so. Yeah.
The equivalent of the FBI is coming for you.
Yeah. By way of a drill. Yeah.
We have Tony actually who's gonna do the news, but he's still on his way, so waiting for him. Orange Friend, anything else you want to bring up? The floor is yours, man. Anything else you want to get out there?
I think we could do a ticket giveaway.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it.
Where does this show get the most comments? Is it on YouTube? In the live chat?
Yeah, how do you want to do it? Because we could tell people to send XMR super chat if you want to do it that way. The first to do something. How are you doing the giveaway?
Well, I think easiest would be if they just leave a comment, right? If you're interested in getting a Monerocon ticket for free, then leave a comment and we can pick someone in a few minutes from the comments that we see. I can see the comments on YouTube and I can see the comments on StreamYard. I don't know if you can see comments elsewhere because I know you're also streaming on Rumble, right?
Yeah, anywhere they comment, it should come in here to StreamYard. So make those comments on YouTube or wherever you are on X, and they'll pop up on StreamYard. So, what do you want to say? Hashtag something or just Monerocon?
Oh yeah, just say Monerocon. Just say Monerocon.
Just say Monerocon. All right, doesn't get easier than that. Please pick me. All right, that counts. Would love a ticket. Okay. This is a very loosey-goosey contest. Basically, do you want a free Monerocon ticket? Who's gonna say no to that? Monerocon is amazing. All right, yeah, they're coming in. They're rolling in, and I'll let you choose. You're gonna give away 2 tickets.
I wanted to give away just one. I don't know. Do the people in the comments need a +1 with them?
Also, I'm XMR Guy. XMR Guy has got multiple accounts. XMR Guy is 9 years old. He's been joining us on the Monerotopia show. He found his way to Monero. Obviously, very advanced 9-year-old, and now he's looking to trying to get tickets to Monerocon. You might want to get him up on stage.
I think that we have a rule that anyone below the age of 15 gets in for free. And they get the popcorn too. So if
anybody can
you don't need a ticket.
If any 9-year-old can figure out how to make their way to Monerocon, I think it's XMR Guy. I think he's with us in the backstage right now.
I'm on the front stage.
There he is. There's XMR Guy. We had Conrad Blinn he was the youngest Monero guy for a while, at least known Monero guy. And he made his debut at Monerocon a few years ago. After coming on this show, we encouraged him to attend Monerocon, and he was close enough in the area to make his way over there. But now he's like an old guy, especially compared to XMR Guy. XMR Bazaar has a bug that when a job is accepted, the job description gets removed.
I missed Monerotopia for this year, so this is my only chance, really.
All right. Go for it, bro. XMR guy. Obviously, with the permission of your parents. Don't do anything crazy. So I think we do have Tony, Orange friend. Any last words, and we'll move it along to the news. Unless, do people want to ask Orange friend any questions? And Orange friend, I don't know if you want to give the ticket away now or how you want to do that.
I can send the voucher to you, Doug, and then I think it would be easiest if you pick the winner and then I give you the voucher.
How are we going to contact these people, though? That's the thing. How are we going to?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't planned this out.
Why?
Just scroll up and down the list of the comments that have said something about Monericon that you wanted, and then just pick one.
Yeah, but the problem isn't so much the picking; it's how do I get the actual voucher to that person?
Yeah, unless they do an XMR chat and then they have to send away for us to reach out to them, or maybe they put their Twitter handle. Not everybody has an X handle.
I mean, I can also just paste a voucher in the StreamYard chat, and then the first person who uses it wins, right? So that's
all right.
option.
You could do that, or you could pick somebody right now. I mean, out of the people that reached out, and you can announce it, and then they can just figure out how to get us their contact. If you want to do that, they can email us at monerotopia@protonmail.com to reach.
Oh yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
If you've made a comment and you get picked, then prove that you're the person who with that account by sending an email with whatever to Monerotopia@protonmail.com, and we can get you the voucher.
I mean, I'm sure people will fake that too, but we'll figure it out. So, you want to choose your winner now?
Yeah, sure. Let's go with Quadriocelata. I don't know how to.
Oh
pronounce this.
yes, we know him.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'll send you the voucher, Doug, and then and then you can send it to him somehow.
Yeah, Quadrio. Yeah. Hit me up either on X or email me monerotopia@protonmail.com, and we'll try to coordinate that. Or hit up Orange Friend directly if you have a means of doing that. Alaska Ano Tip points. I thought about sending Monero-chan to Monerocon. I can go, but she wants to go. Oh, he can't go. Alaska Ano can't go, but Monero-chan wants to go. All right. I'm sure she'd be well received there. All right, let's go ahead and run the news, and we'll bring Tony up. I think he's backstage, ready to go.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
And Orange Friend, stick around if you can. We'll have viewers on stage. If you can't stick around, no worries. But people want to come up and ask you some questions. But first, we're going to do the news. We have Tony, Orange Friend, man. Thank you so much for jumping up today. Good luck with the conference. Wish I was able to attend. I can't this year, but highly recommend others make it happen if you can. Thank you, man. Thank you, Orange Friend. And Tony, take it away.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So good to see you guys. First, I think before we go in the news section, we did have 2 weeks ago the side event in Miami at Consensus. I want to go over that a little bit and then go over my presentation and then what the other people did that came to speak, and then we'll go into the news section. But yeah, so WebWipe hosted a side event at the Consensus in Miami 2026 2 weeks ago. And so we had a pretty low turnover. We did have like 300 people that said that they were going to come in, and we got a really nice venue. We set up all the TVs. It was like a bar, super like a brewery, very nice. We set up all the TVs. We got a projector. We got a mic, everything. But we didn't have that many people show up, which is cool, which is fine. But the ones that did really enjoy it, and this was I think the only privacy side event at Consensus. Everybody was too busy talking about stablecoins and regulation and all the other stuff. But this side event was really, really awesome. And so it was me, organized by WebWipe, really awesome guy. Sally was there, Sal the agorist, if you guys know him. He was there too. He gave a talk. Shirley from Logos was there too. Ryan from Evertas, and then we had Harry from NIM. We had Edge. So we had quite a few people, quite a few speakers, and it was an awesome vibe. Everybody had a lot of fun. And yeah, so a couple pics over here. As you can see the venue. So we had a projector right here, and then we had screens all over the place. So it's, but I think we had such a low turnover because the traffic was insane. It took me twice as long to get to Miami as it usually um, happens to be. So the traffic was insane, and I think everybody was just in Miami Beach and they didn't want to leave, and they just kind of hung out there. But we did have 300 people, like 350 people sign up. We had to take it down essentially, and we had a bunch of VCs sign up, chain analysis companies and whatnot. But it's fine. Super cool event. So now I'm not sure. I don't think WebWipe actually shared the presentations of the speakers, which is right here. So then I'll talk to him to see if he's going to update it on the website. But I am going to show you a couple of them. But before, so I want to go over. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so my topic was a bit less technical, and I wanted to just cover basically what's been happening, what is happening, and what is going to happen. And Harry from NIM said something very interesting, and that we have just maybe 2 to 3 years to really build these tools, because in the future it's going to be very hard, or maybe even impossible, to actually get some privacy unless we build it like right now. We just have a couple of years, so it's kind of dark. But yeah, so financial privacy, and then so it's a human right under siege, and the tool we have to defend it. It's not about hiding something, but it's about being able to choose who knows what about you, right? So you're not a criminal because you want to have some privacy. It's a human right that nobody says that you can or cannot have it. There's nobody that has that authority. Everybody should have privacy and should have a say in how their data is being used. So the first thing, we have the podcast, right, Monero Talk. We have the conference Monerotopia, and then we have XMR Bazaar. So we operate on 3 fronts, which is awesome. And if you guys never been to Monerotopia, I highly recommend, because it's just such an awesome time. You can talk to the speakers, hang out with them, meet new people, and talk about anything about Monero or just privacy in general, or like any topic. It's just a bunch of amazing people that come to Monerotopia, so it's really awesome. And if you guys don't know about Monero Talk, if in case you just know about Monero, the Saturday show, we do have Monero Talk too, in which we give interviews as well to awesome people. So then the first question is privacy for criminals? Because people say that sometimes. And why do you want privacy in your messages and privacy in your finances? Do you have something to hide? And let me actually see if I can make this full screen so you guys can see it better. Okay, well, that's a bit better. So privacy is existential. Choose who uses your information. So for the people that say, why do you want privacy? Are you trying to hide something? Then what about if you're on the phone with your family and then you have your whole neighborhood or like 20 people around you talking to your family? Would you like that? And people say, well, no, I would not like that. Well, exactly. And what about instead of opaque walls, what if your house had transparent walls so everybody can see what you eat, what you do in your free time? Doesn't sound too good, does it? And so apps are free now. You can go on YouTube for free. You can go on Instagram. You can go on all these things. But what happened is that we became the product, and over decades that they've been around. So we taught the algorithm about us. It learned about us. But then what it ends up happening is that the algorithm now teaches us, right? And kind of what I don't like is that if you're really into something, then the algorithm gives you mostly that, and it's hard to get out. So it's gonna sound funny, but like, what if you're a stupid person? Sorry, but then you're just gonna get stupid stuff over and over again, and you're just going to be fed these low attention span, just stupid content or brain rot, whatever people call it nowadays. But yeah, all these things like your attention, your behavior, your beliefs, these are all things that the algorithm is learning and it's using it against us. So criminals, they must face justice, of course, but it shouldn't come at the cost of our privacy. Now, this is a pretty, so it's a pretty cool case study. So we have Greece, and what they want to do in Greece right now is they want to de-anonymize social media accounts. And that is to fight toxicity, right? Because there's a bunch of cyberbullying and whatnot, which great, that shouldn't happen. Because back in the days, if you had something bad to say about somebody else in person, then you would get punched by him and probably his friends. But now you get likes sometimes if you're rude. So that can reinforce your bad behavior, which is not good. But yeah, so they said, yeah, we're just going to de-anonymize social media accounts. Every single person behind a social media account in Greece is going to be tied to their real identity. And the minister said, in ancient Greece, everyone could express their opinion openly and by name. This should inspire us as we shape a new digital democracy. Although he didn't mention that Socrates was sentenced to death for impiety and corrupting the youth, allegedly. And then he was forced to drink poison. So he forgot to mention that. And so Athens invented free speech, but it also killed Socrates for it. So now I kind of split what I want to talk about in the past, present, and future. Like what's been happening in the past in terms of just humans trying to control other people. Like is this a new behavior? The fact that we have more means and now we want to control more, or has this been happening since the beginning of humanity? And it's been happening since the beginning of humanity. So humans always wanted to control other people. It's not a new thing. The tools that we have today are just much, much better than what they used to have. But this is a timeline of money being unleashed. So 3000 before Christ, we have Mesopotamia. The first scribes, they weren't poets, it wasn't romantic, but what they did is that they tracked grain tribute owned to the temple. So you control the grain, control the people. Then 500 before Christ, we have Persia. We have Darius, he standardized coinage empire-wide. So he decided what money is and who has it and how you can use it. 1290 after Christ, medieval Europe. So Jews were barred from owning land. They couldn't own any land. So then they had to get into the money lending business, lending money to other people. And the Christians didn't like money lenders. So then they were persecuted for doing that. So they got financially excluded from owning land and other things. And then they got persecuted for what they had to do to survive. 1700s, colonial era, Britain's Navigation Acts forced colonies to trade only in British ships, currency, and ports. Economic dependency by design, and not just Britain, right? We have Spain and all these other countries that colonize other countries, and then they force them to trade and use their language and whatnot. And then so maybe some of you don't know this, but in 1933 in the USA, we have Executive Order 6102, in which owning gold became illegal. So you either handed it or you would face 10 years in prison. And I think if you didn't hand it, then you would also, I think, owe $10,000 or something if you don't give in your gold. And yeah, that was less than 100 years ago. Then we have 2013, which is crazy, in Cyprus. So the banks, they froze. Essentially what they did is that they needed to be, the whole country economically, they had to be bailed out. They were going bankrupt. So what did they do? They stole money from people's accounts. And that's how they've done it overnight. No vote, no nothing. You just woke up, and if you had a certain percentage in your bank account, then you'll take a look, and then boom, it's been used by the government to save itself. Now, that's a little bit about the past. So where are we at today? Well, so we all know about the Emergency Act, the whole trucker situation with Trudeau in 2022. We covered that when it happened. And it just took a tweet. It wasn't an order or anything, but he just said that we're going to freeze the accounts of the truckers and their donors. It was during the whole COVID thing. So people had broken no criminal law, they had no previous charges, no conviction, whatever, but now they were prohibited from any financial service. And we have Christia Freeland say in February 2022 that it gives me no pleasure to impose any of these measures, but do not doubt our determination to defend our democracy. The consequences are real and they will bite. Oh, God. Yeah, so a little bit of a threat there from Christia in case you want to donate to the truckers. So, yeah, if you're a mom, if you're a single dad, whatever, taking care of your kids and you donate it to them, then you would be restricted from, or anybody, you would just be restricted from financial services. And what do you do then? You don't have access to your money. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane. Then 2025, I think, Jack Mullers, which some of you may know, huge Bitcoin guy, essentially Chase didn't want to, essentially Chase closed down his account and they wouldn't say why, even though him and his dad have been have been with Chase for quite a long time. And then Senator Cynthia Lummis said Operation Choke Point 2.0 regrettably lives on. Actions like JP Morgan's undermine the confidence in traditional banking. And this actually happened weeks after President Trump signed an executive order prohibiting banks from debanking individuals because of the crypto related activity. So he signed the executive order, and that didn't go well because Chase was still able to go after Jack Muller and his account. So then again, a little bit about Cyprus, right? They control the capital. Just overnight, they had to bail out. The banking system was 7 times the national economy. They had to be bailed out. So we had the EU, ECB, IMF, 10 billion euro, and they said, yeah, I think it's a good idea to just take the money from the people, and that's what they did. And of course, there were withdrawal limits because people would be scared and they would want to take out their money from their bank before the country and the government doesn't take more money from them. Cash caps at the border, and there's no vote. It just kind of happened overnight, which is insane. And then we have the ultimate blueprint for ultimate control, which is China. So we have the Chinese yen. So by late 2025, we have 3.4 billion transactions, 2.3 trillion processed in dollars, 800% growth from 2023. So it's not a pilot anymore. It's an infrastructure. It's programmable. So money can expire. They can tell you how much money needs to be spent in your account by what date. And if you don't, because you just don't want to, then it's going to just expire away. And good luck. And they also have this thing called managed anonymity. So small payments, they look private. Essentially, if you buy bread and whatever, then that, unquote, it's not going to be tracked, but it can. So here comes the managed anonymity. You don't have full anonymity, you have managed. So yeah, they don't need to freeze your account. They already decide what your money is going to do. It's a very smart system. So that's already bad enough. The past was bad, the present was bad. What about the future? So the future is just as bad. Actually, it's even worse. So we talked about this in the past, how the EU, they want to put a $10,000 cash cap. So they're saying that this is, for now, it's just for commercial activity, right? And if you want to purchase, like say a car or whatever, then you can't just show up with 20k euro or dollars, whatever, in cash and pay. You need to use a card essentially for it to be tracked. So yeah, this is going to be implemented by summer 2027. They want to cap cash. So slowly, we're used to not using it. So then when the phase out is going to happen, then you're already used to it. And it's not going to be a dramatic change. People will already be used to using stuff online, and it'll just be more like a seamless transaction. Now, I think 2 weeks ago, we did discuss about the cameras inside every new car starting July 2026. So the EU is going to have driver monitoring cameras in all new cars. And essentially, what that's going to track is your eyes, your head position, your body movement in real time. So if you're driving and you look outside the window to look at the beautiful mountain or just a beautiful view, and then you check your phone for a little bit, that's all going to be generated in the system and is going to become a statistic. And future headlines could be 80% of drivers have dangerous habits. And this is why insurance has to maybe go up. Or this would be a huge reason for autonomous vehicles to become very, very used because people drive very recklessly, and we do. A lot of people drive like crazy. If you drive a little bit in Miami, it's insane. I don't know how they got their license or if they or if they did. But yeah, so that's all going to be used. That all it's going to be behavioral data uploaded and used against you. And it's in practicality, it sounds cool that you just go in your car and then you just let it drive you from point A to point B. And it's cool. Like I would actually like that, okay? Because I can just relax and not have to focus and drive after work or whatnot if you're tired. But what if you go in your car and then you tweeted something like Monero for the win, or I just got some more Monero, or whatever, and now your car won't start because that can happen. Totally, that can totally happen. And now we have in the United Kingdom the digital identity, and that's what they want to implement very, very soon. So our friend from the UK, Keir Starmer, said, "Let me spell that out," because of course we're idiots, so he needs to spell it out for us. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have a digital ID. It's as simple as that. So it's one credential that can give you or revoke access to healthcare, banking, food, travel, e-commerce, social platforms, government services, anything that makes you human in today's age. If you don't have the digital ID, essentially you are going to be subhuman, or you're just going to just something different because you won't be able to travel. You can book trips. You can go maybe outside the country. You cannot use health services. You cannot you can't do anything. And he did say that it's free of charge. So thanks, Keir Starmer. Thank you for the free of charge digital identity, so I don't have to pay for my shackles, at least that. And to finish, because I know this is quite morbid, and I want everybody to have a good weekend. Although we're gonna go into the news, and that has some more couple morbid stuff, but there's some positive stuff too. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully you still enjoy your weekend after all of this. But essentially, the next phase of surveillance is going to be under our skin. And that's what Yuval Noah Harari said in 2021. And then we have from Oracle, Larry Ellison, saying that the computer will recognize you and your voice. It might ask you to put your index finger on the key. There's no reason to enter a password. So in the future, you will become the password, essentially, like your whole identity. And when the password is rejected, it's not the password that is actually rejected, but your whole identity that is being rejected. Your whole being, your whole existence is rejected, which is, yeah, it's crazy. And essentially, if you want a picture of the future, you imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. And that's what George Orwell said in the book 1984. If you haven't read that book, then I highly, highly recommend. That's one of the really, really good ones. And there's some other really good books, but definitely highly recommend that one. But then, okay, so all this dark stuff, but then what I wanted to talk about, because I wanted to introduce all these big VCs and all these guys to kind of what's been happening, what is going to happen, what to expect, because it's all dark stuff. And then, so what's the solution? So we have Monero, right? What we know. And then there's one mission, there's one tool, total privacy. We don't have a company, no CEO, no VC backers, no pre-mine. It's community funded. It hides the sender, the receiver, and the amount by default every time for every user. It's not something that you turn on. And the key differentiator is fungibility. So every XMR is identical. And then over quick, I wanted to show them about I did show them about the roadmap of Monero starting from 2014 to FCMP++. And we're going to talk about some stuff today. 2014, Monero was born from a community takeover, no CEO, no nothing. 2018 bulletproofs, 2020 IRS bounty. Then we have 2024. We discussed about Binance delisting XMR. Then in 2017, Ring City, Random Max 2019, 2022, Telemission, we talked about that too. And then what's coming up, FCMP++, Carrot, Cuprate, Vino, Torchain, and all these amazing things. So yes, luckily we have Monero, and we have amazingly smart people that are working on Monero, and it's just getting better and better. And then if you want to get Monero, if you want to spend your Monero, if you must use a CEX centralized exchange, you can use Kraken. But if not, there's peer-to-peer, Atomic. You can mine it. And if you want to spend it, you can get gift cards on coin cards, on CakePay, on Bitrefill. There's a lot of companies. If you want to find more services, you can go to monerica.com. Of course, XMR Bazaar. If you want to use your Monero, if you want to offer a service. But then lastly, so this is the most important because sometimes I see this in Reddit, is try to make an impact in all of this. This is what you can do now. And it can be small stuff. You can go to Monerotopia, which is our conference, right, for Monero and just overall privacy and financial privacy, which is just an amazing time because it's not one of those conferences where you come, the speakers give their speech, and then they just go behind their bodyguards and just walk away and whatever. No, they're done talking. At the end of the day, we're gonna go to the bar, have a beer, whatever you want to drink. If you don't drink, that's fine too. And we're just gonna talk about Monero life, the future, like whatever you want to talk, and just relax. It's an awesome time. There's so many good people. But let's say you can't come to Monerotopia, then you can start your own privacy meetup. You can start your own conference. You can maybe accept Monero in your business. You can post your services on XMR Bazaar if you do some type of freelancing. Or I don't know, maybe you make very good croissants or jam. So you just put it on XMR Bazaar and you ship it to people. And you can earn money this way. You can earn Monero. So there's many ways. You can also run a node to strengthen the network. But if you don't want to do any of this, then talk about it. If you watch this, then continue the conversation and talk to more people about it. So the system doesn't fear your anger. It doesn't give a shit about it, but it does fear your exit, which is also why a lot of countries are now implementing this whole exit tax, which you need to pay tens of thousands of whatever dollar, Canadian, euro currency you want to use to exit their system. And we gotta do this now. Like Harry from NIMS said it too. We only have a couple of years, like two to 3 years. Like already 2026. There've been so many changes. Like now you can just build an app in a couple of hours. Like I built for something that I need an app in a couple of hours. You can build websites. You can do just so much. Technology is advancing so fast. So to end this presentation, we have a quote from Alexander Solzhenitsyn. He wrote The Gulag Archipelago. It's an amazing book that I highly recommend everybody read. It's about his time during Stalin, when he was in the Gulag, and about the whole oppression system. But so we didn't love freedom enough, and even more, we had no awareness of the real situation. And that's a lot of people. They don't love freedom enough. And I think we just saw Instagram right now, basically de-anonymizing or de-encrypting your messages. So if you use Instagram and you talk to people, then it's unencrypted. And yeah, so this was my presentation. I really like it. If any of you like this and you want to share it, you can ask me privately or whatnot, or I can share it and you guys can take it if you wanna, give it to more people. So I think it's pretty nice. I'm biased, but I think it's nice. And then yes, I'm gonna talk to WebWipe about all these other presentations, but we had logos, so I guess I'm gonna open this one really quick. Yeah, Logos is awesome. It's a really awesome project, and Shirley came straight from the airport to come to talk to us about this. Oh wait, no, sorry. Logos, there we go. Yeah, so Logos, it's part of a generation fed up with corruption, surveillance, and stagnation, often associated with incumbent institutions. So all they're about is how to break out of surveillance, how to create a parallel society. So I really highly recommend. And I don't know if Shirley from Logos and Harry from NIM met before, but I'm going to show you guys in a bit this video that she just posted because I think they just collabed and I think it's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's Shirley right there. And that's me. That's Rodrigo, the guy who sold his car for Monero to Doug, which is pretty cool. That's Harry, a couple other guys. So yeah, very good vibes. And then we have, WebWipe gave a couple of talks. We have Nim. Oops, sorry, hold on. There we go. Yeah, so Nim gave a talk too. And then, WebWipe went a bit deeper with quantum and other things. And then he also talked about automated license plate readers and how we have these things across the country, and how they read your license plate and automatically collect this information, the make of your car, the model, the color, and then identifying features such as dents, blah blah, date and time, location, and also how to evade that as well. So yeah, very nice, very cool event. And it's sad that from 400 side events, this was pretty much the only privacy focused one. So just to read the comment section over quick, there was a competing privacy event for Solana at the exact same time I went to instead. Oh, Ramsey, you were there too. Okay, yeah, I did hear about that actually. Yeah, Monerotopia seems interesting. However, 120 euros expensive. I mean, it's just so worth it though. It's just such an amazing time, and you meet such awesome people. So even if you pay that price, I'm sure you're gonna have lasting memories. It's so awesome, and I think it's in Warsaw this year, and Warsaw it's an awesome city. You're gonna have a lot of fun. So Swedish Chef Tip 0.001 XMR. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. For any viewers in Sweden, please join the Digital Rights Organization, DFRI. www.dfri.ce, supporting DFRI, running more Tor exit relays. Okay, so if anybody's interested, check it out. And then we have Edward in the comments section. Michael Rechtenwald wrote the Google Archipelago. Ooh, that sounds cool actually. Hold on, sorry guys. The Google, if I can type Google Archipelago by Michael. If I can type. The Digital Gulag and the Simulation of Freedom. Okay, how old is this book? 2019. That's cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm gonna save that. That sounds very interesting. Also, there's this one too. Techno Feudalism by and What Killed Capitalism by Yanis Varoufakis. This one is cool too. Yeah, for me, I view it as kind of like a techno feudalism, techno communism type of thing. But just imagine also like what I wanted to say at the end of, and what I did say at the end of my talk, oops, sorry, is just imagine a 21st century Stalin and just how much power he would have. Like just insane amount of power and just the evil that they can do from now on. Like it's very serious. They have access to much more things. So yeah. But yeah, so without further ado, let's go into the news section because we have some cool stuff to talk about here as well. And again, so if you guys are interested in any of the talks or whatever, let me know and I can provide you with the presentation. I do have to send it to WebWipe, and I think he's going to post all of them on webwipe.io. So then if you're interested to read any, or if you want to repost mine to share along, then that'll be appreciated. But yeah, so logos, it's pretty cool. So I think, I don't know if Shirley and Harry met before. I think that was their first time. But I think they already collabed, which is cool. So let's watch this 30-second video, hear from the people and projects building outside legacy systems, parallel stories. So we have Jared from Logos, Harry from Nim, Lunar, cool, from Darkify, Pavel from Tor, Vila Renata from OKFN, and Yeshod Harab from Zugrama.org.
Tony, is there supposed to be audio? Because if so, there's not.
Super sick. So yeah, if you guys want to check out more about logos, then I recommend going on the logos website or on X and checking them out. Because
Tony,
yeah,
was
Shirley's
there supposed
cool and it's a really cool project, and yeah, so I recommend you guys check it out. But this is so sick. This is really cool. And so a couple posts from Reddit. Somebody made a whole XMR rig over here. He says, "I love Monero. My dumb ass mining solo because peer-to-peer pool isn't working for some reason." But that's his setup. Pretty cool. A lot of orange. Even has the Monero. Does he? Yeah, he has the Monero logo in there as well. So that's a pretty cool setup. Somebody said that he needs more fans. This guy already has like 7 of them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then yeah, so that was actually yesterday. So 15th of May, every single year, in case you didn't know, we have this XMR and also Bitcoin Cash bank run. Essentially, you take all your XMR and your Bitcoin Cash from exchanges. If you have any in Kraken or whatever, um, there's not that many that host XMR anymore. So, but essentially, what you do is you just take it off and you just run away. And a lot of people are doing it. So, I really want to see the transactions during that day to see like how many actually did it and how it looks on their end. That's pretty funny. And then, so with Kayun, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Sorry if it's not the correct way, but Kayun, he launched. So this was launched 3 years ago, and essentially it's a private cloud provider, and it's a Monero only hosting provider, which was announced in this subreddit 3 years ago. It's very cool, so let's check it out. And that's how it looks like. They have a promotion right now, 30% off. So if you're interested in any of their cloud server services, then you can go check them out. But yeah, he talks about basically his ups and downs during this whole time, during these 3 years. And also, I think somebody asked, yeah, how much of your volume is in XMR compared to other payment methods, percentage-wise? And he said 70 to 80%. So that's pretty cool. So most of the people that do go and want private cloud services, then they pay mostly Monero, which is cool to see. So then we have this article from Human Rights Watch, and essentially, let me see, yeah. So, which is nuts. But so the European Union surveillance technology is being sold to rights violators. So despite the adoption of a landmark regulation in 2021, the EU has failed to prevent member states from exporting surveillance tech to governments with well-documented histories of using this technology to spy on journalists and other critical voices. So, which is pretty insane. So we have Zach Campbell, senior surveillance researcher at Human Rights Watch, and he said, it appears as if EU countries and EU-based surveillance companies are putting profits over people, despite adopting one of the most progressive regulations to curtail the sale of this harmful technology. Real transparency is needed to ensure that the dual-use regulation is working as intended. So that's very sickening. They develop all this, and they have the resources as well. They're developing all this surveillance technology, and then they're selling it off for profits, which is just sickening. But okay, let's see. Let's move on. Okay, so now Server's Guru. So they've been around for 5 years, serving the Monero community, and they don't ask for your ID. It's no KYC, VPS. And if you're interested, they give you now a 30% off. So let's go onto their website. You can check them out right here, servers.guru. And yeah, so it's fast, reliable, affordable, and anonymous hosting for VPS services. All our hosting plans come with 99% uptime guarantee, DDoS protection, premium support, all this stuff. You can pay with credit card, Monero, Litecoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Tron, and whatnot. And yeah, so if you're interested in any of their services, VPS, web hosting, and whatnot, then they also offer a 30% off during this time. So you can go check them out. And it's called ADEX Monero for their services. And now somebody asked on Reddit, can Monero still win in a world moving towards total financial surveillance? And that's a very big topic. So can Monero still win during these times? Over the years, Monero has faced exchange delistings, government pressure, negative media attention, and constant debates around privacy coins. But despite all that, the community is still active and XMR continues to survive. So this person genuinely wants to know, do you think Monero's focus on privacy will make it more important in the future as surveillance increases worldwide, or will regulation slowly push it out of mainstream crypto adoption? And what do you personally think is Monero's strongest advantage today? Privacy, fungibility, ASIC resistance mining, decentralization, real-world usage, community strength, all these things. I mean, I think all of those are important, and most definitely is going to become. And actually, I talked to this about Harry and how in the future, I mean, I think it's going to get more serious, and they're really going to go maybe after Monero devs and people that are talking about Monero and spreading the word, because if they're working so hard to have all this surveillance in place, and then you have this tool called Monero that can just give you financial privacy, and they just can't do anything to decrypt it, then that's going to be a problem, and they're just going to go after people. And their best tactic is, if we can go door to door to make sure, check if you're running a node or if you're mining Monero or whatever, then they can use a scare tactic in which they go after the people that are building Monero, which would be crazy and unfortunate, but that can be a reality. So that's how I view it. So it's going, especially with the newest updates, it's going to be very, very, very hard. I mean, to do anything to Monero, and every time it happens, we just learn from it and we get better. But a strat, and I hope there's no feds listening to this right now. But yeah, probably that's what they're going to do, just scare tactics. So who knows? Maybe like Monerotopia, it's going to become illegal, or MoneroCon and all these things. And maybe this whole show is going to, maybe even YouTube is going to, in a couple years, take it down because it's going to violate blah blah blah, whatever. So yeah, pretty serious. It's pretty serious stuff. And at that point, like they can't say it's capitalism anymore. At that point, it's just freaking communism, just techno communism, or feudalism, or just combination. I don't even know. It's gonna be a new type of system. But yeah, so Monero GUI Flora and Fermi has been released. This recommended release includes a large number of bug fixes. Some highlights of this release are move peer-to-peer pool, install location, the local app data on Windows, fix edge case and URI parsing, disable offline, transaction creation with long payment ID, and many other things. So if you want to read more about this release, you can go on here and check it out. And then I'm going to skip this for a second. I just want to go over, let's see what we have. Yeah, this one. So the Monero Research Lab has provided an update on post-quantum encryption for Monero. So the Monero Research Lab discussed finalizing the post-quantum encryption variant for Gemtis address scheme after comparing options in the provided table. There was general support for proceeding with Gemtis AC1024 due to a strong security margin. And these are all the details right here of the algorithm tested, the address length, and scan time, and all these things. So if you want to check it out, if you're more technical, then we have this information too, and you can go and read more about it. And now going back, so let's see. Let's go to this one. So JP Tor of TorChain just live demoed a Rune to Monero swap. It's not live on mainnet yet, but it appears to be functioning with real Monero. None of this would have been possible without the contributions Kayab and Nerve has made. The Monero fam is patiently waiting for the launch of Serai DEX, but it's hard not to also be excited about Monero going live on TorChain very soon. So once live, proceed with caution. To be honest, Doug said Tor has to really prove itself here, but I, for one, am thrilled to see this integration finally happen. And thank you for everybody that made it happen. So it's 2.5 minutes. So let's watch this. Can you guys hear it?
No, they can't hear it. Is there supposed to be
Let me know
audio?
in the YouTube comments, or if body or shortwave, if you guys.
Why can't Tony hear me? Okay then.
Hey, Tony, you there? Man.
Oh, there's no audio. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Then I don't think I can play the. I don't know why the audio is not working again. Uh, yeah. Unless Justice, is it possible?
Yes,
Maybe
sir.
you can play it, or somebody. If not, it's fine.
No, I don't have any way to.
Okay. So, let's see. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. It must be on the. Uh, okay, so what if I stop sharing? Justice, are you here to put it back on?
Yeah, I got you.
Because if not, it's fine. I just had this one, and then we have one more, but it's fine if not. Okay, so in the meantime, while I get an answer to that, then I guess we'll just gonna keep going. But yeah, so if you guys wanna check it out, I'm sorry about the audio. I'm gonna do more testing for next time. I think I know what it is, but I have a new setup too, so then it doesn't give me the options like before. But yeah, so if you guys want to check this out, anyway, we're gonna give all the links. So if you want to see this Rune to Monero swap video, you'll be able to have it. But it's really cool. That's really cool. Okay, and then so a little bit about the TorChain incident. They give an update, and I think that's nice. That when attacks happen, that you take responsibility when you build something, and then you talk about the issue with the community. So when anything happened to Monero, then it's being reported, and then TorChain is doing the same right now with what happened. So essentially, there was a bad actor. So current evidence points towards a newly churned node linked to the attack, likely operated by a single malicious actor. And then it gets a bit more technical, but the leading theory is an exploit in the GG20TSS implementation, allowing vault key material to leak over time. So the attacker may have reconstructed the vault private key and executed unauthorized outbound transactions. So we have all this post if you want to look more into it. But then yeah, so they're working on a complete recovery and then restart plan for the network. They're bringing trading and full functionality back online, and it will take a couple of days and potentially longer depending on the complexity of the chosen remediation path. So we'll get more updates from TorChain about the situation, and then at the end there are thanks for developers, node operator security, contributors, and everybody in the community. So that's going to be fixed. Then I have. Yeah, I'm sorry about not being able to play video, but I have this one too. So this one is Senator Warren on Tornado Cash, and every single time she's just going ham on these things. But so she basically said in this 1 minute video is that she talked about crypto services and how all these crypto services, they are a favorite tool for hackers, terrorist groups, and for sanctioned regimes. So basically, privacy it's just ridiculous. basically that privacy is a crime, and then we should go after these these services. But it's like knives. How many people have knives in the house? Everybody has a knife, but then how many people actually use the knife to commit a crime? Like the number is very, very low. And I know one time we compared the numbers of what's the total amount of money in US dollars versus in crypto that has been used for illicit activities, and the one that is in dollars is marginally higher than the one in crypto. And then also, like, if you compare the crypto transactions that are occurring and how many are illicit compared to the totality of the crypto transactions, the ones that are illicit are obviously lower. Like it's not like half, like half of everything is uh, essentially, yeah, used for bad actors. Uh, have there been have there been news segment yet? If not, there was a ball introduced in Poland to ban crypto and entirely. Yeah, so this is the new segment. Sorry, guys, I kind of went in the beginning over the conference from 2 weeks ago and what happened, and then just got into the new section. So yeah, this is the new section. Well, okay, I did not hear about that. Do you have a link for it? Because if you do, if you can send me a link, then I can open it now and we can kind of go over it. I appreciate it. Thank you. If you guys have anything that you want to discuss as we talk about the new section, then you're all more than welcome, of course. But yeah, so there's that, and then what else do we have to? Because I know I have a couple more to show you guys.
Hey Tony, can you hear me?
Wait, hold on, because I had one from the rage that I wanted to talk about. No, yeah, this one. Okay, so this one is from the rage. They have a lot of very nice articles. So I recommend you guys go on therage.co to check out all the stuff that they have. So this one is about the Sterling Gov appeal, the criminalization of privacy, and how the DOJ has repeatedly opined that cryptocurrency mixers are legal, and that may be true in theory, but then why do we have people behind bars because of it? So it doesn't translate in practice, and the appellate court in Washington, D.C. appeared to argue today, the appellate court appeared to argue today, so every payment in Bitcoin fog for IN2 is part of advancing the conspiracy because it increases the size of the pool of Bitcoin funds that are shuffling around and obscuring identities. A judge opined at today's hearing, and then similar arguments have been made by SDNY against Tornado Cash developers, Roman Storm. So if you go in the link here, we have a big article going over this stuff in depth. But yeah, the whole situation is ridiculous about having a cryptocurrency mixer and then saying that it was essentially created for criminals to have privacy and not for people that just want to have more privacy, because Bitcoin doesn't have privacy like that, like we have in Monero. But yeah, just over quick, just to freshen up memories, or in case you guys know. So Roman Sterlingov was arrested in April 2021 on it. Okay, awesome. Yeah, if you can find that, then I'll go over it. Awesome, man. Because that sounds crazy. So yeah, Roman Sterlingov, he was arrested in April 2021 at Los Angeles International Airport and indicted almost a year later, July 2022, for running the early custodial Bitcoin mixer, Bitcoin Fog. So he's the one behind Bitcoin Fog, if you guys remember. And according to the government, the mixer processed close to 336 million in Bitcoin, including 78 million related to darknet markets like Silk Road, Agora, Alphabet, and Evolution. And then, so he's a Swedish national and was found guilty of conspiracy to commit money laundering, as well as several counts of violations of federal and state money transmission laws, and sentenced to 12.5 years in prison. So today, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia Circuit heard the defense and prosecution's arguments in Sterlingov's appeal, which mainly focused on the discussion of the venue, and the three-judge panel appeared to have given the case a thorough read. Sterlingov's attorney, Eklund, told The Rage after the hearing, "It's a very smart court. I think they're looking at this intensely. I have no idea what they're going to do," he added. So yeah, and then it goes over all mixer funds, illicit or illicit, part of the whole criminal conspiracy. So yeah, very interesting, very, very interesting and very sad. And then Trump's been in office for a year now, maybe more, and then nothing's been going on. These people are still being prosecuted and things are still happening. So yeah, he may be pro crypto, but he doesn't care about privacy and things of this matter. So let's see. I think that's it. So Inquisitor, if you can find, or actually, I'm gonna look it up while you do as well. Poland to ban crypto. So we'll go over this, and then I think that'll be it for the new section. Okay, so let's see. Bitcoin magazine. So Poland passes crypto bill as a fraud probe deepens political divide. Polish lawmakers approved a long-debated crypto bill to align with the EU MiCA's rule as a fraud probe tied to a major exchange intensifies political tension in Warsaw. Okay, so I'm just seeing this, guys. So I'm gonna go over it with you in the same time. So, okay, Polish lawmakers have approved a long-debated cryptocurrency bill, moving to align the country within the Europe Union's market in crypto assets regulation. As a fraud probe tied to a major exchange fuels political tension in Warsaw. The legislation passed on Friday sets a framework for licensing, supervision, and consumer protection across the crypto sector. Okay, cool, of course, to protect people. So Poland faces a July deadline to implement MiCAs or risk forcing domestic firms to halt crypto asset services. Interesting. According to the National Financial Watchdog. Okay, so they have a July deadline to implement all these things. Wow, okay. Or just firms cannot operate anymore in Poland. Okay. So the vote lands as prosecutors investigate the collapse of Zonda Crypto, once the country's largest exchange, where thousands of users remain unable to access funds. Authorities estimate losses at more than 350 million zlotys, about $96 million, turning the case into one of the most significant crypto failures in Central Europe. So that's pretty big. And then so Prime Minister Donald Tusk has linked the platform to alleged foreign influence. Okay, citing security service findings that point to Russian capital behind the exchange. He has described the company's origins as opaque and raised concerns about its past sponsorship of events involving figures from the nationalist opposition. Moscow has denied any role in sabotage or covert activity across Europe. Okay, so Zonda Crypto's founder has been missing since 2022. Polish media report that his successor resides in Israel, where he holds citizenship, a factor that may complicate any extradition effort. Okay, interesting. Inquisitors said the bill have been proposed by PIS party. There is currently debate in Sejm on how to adopt MiCA compliance with Ben being one of the options. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, definitely we're gonna, and this is from yesterday. Okay, so that's pretty fresh stuff. So we're going to pay attention to this, and hopefully we'll have more. We'll see what they concluded in a couple of weeks. And if Poland is going to ban crypto, that's going to be very interesting. Yeah. Okay, so that was the news section, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully I gave you a good mix between dark and positive stuff about Monero. Again, so I'm going to talk to WebWipe and see if he's going to post all these presentations from the privacy side event at Consensus. So if you want to check out any of them, then you can. Sal just kind of gave a talk, so he didn't have any presentation. But then logos, mine, the ones that WebWipe did too, they're all on there. So if you want to check it out, then you're more than welcome. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. Don't let this stuff get to you. Sometimes I feel a bit sad for a couple minutes after I do the news section because it's just such depressive things. But then you take in some sun, you go for a walk, and you just live your life as much as you can, as long as you can. So yeah, have a good weekend, everybody, and then I'll see you next week. And like always, if you have anything that you want me to talk about during the news section, then I pay attention to the news, the YouTube comments as well, and then we can discuss it. But other than that, shortwave or Justice, guys, are you guys here to
Yep. All right,
take
Tony.
over and transit to the guest segment?
Man,
All right, thanks, Tony.
we're gonna run the viewers on stage.
Yep, let's do it.
So, okay, I'm not sure if
The Monerotopia Viewers on Stage segment is sponsored by XMR Bar.
let me see, maybe I-
Play dice with Monero using a privacy-respecting and provably fair algorithm. Go to xmr.bar. As always, verify and never trust.
Please gamble responsibly in accordance with the laws of your jurisdiction.
Hey, there we go.
Oh,
By the way,
okay,
I
non.
get it, Orange friend. I get the meme. I'm with you.
The thing is awesome.
Hmm. When you put a D in anything, it makes it kind of gay.
Hello, one and all. Hello, Alaska. Anon, how are you?
God is good. Life is good.
Yo, what's up? How you doing, man?
This entire Monerotopia, I'm on a battery bank.
You learned from last time, I guess.
Hey, whatever works.
Alaska, I don't think we can hear you. Like it's kind of.
Might be how far away I am from the microphone, or
No, there's no sound. Okay, so XMR guy, that's nice to meet you, man, and that's awesome that you're so young and you're into this stuff. Good for you, and hopefully you can come next year to Monerotopia because you're gonna have such a good time. So many awesome people, and it's just so nice. Nice, Alaska, nice, super nice. Okay,
Apparently,
well, I gotta
StreamYard
go,
is.
guys.
All right,
Oh,
have
sorry,
a good
no.
one, Tony.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Hey, peace.
did that fix it? Can people hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
It sounds good.
I'll be right back. I have a bunch of dirt trucks coming and going from my house, so I may come and go.
You can buy dirt.
Dude, so dirt from Monero.
I wonder what the heck is up with StreamYard today, because apparently some people can hear others and other people can't hear other people. It's stupid.
We need to move to Jitsi meat.
Maybe, because StreamYard is being especially today, apparently.
I've used Jitsi Meat before.
I used it constantly for years, like constantly, especially for like business stuff. And I would just force people not to use Zoom or Teams or any of that crap. I was like,
oh, that's
no.
awesome.
Yeah. Force people not to use Zoom or Teams or any of that crap. I was like,
oh, that's awesome.
Hey, PGP, make sure that you're muted when you're not talking because it'll create an echo. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Hey, PGP, make. So the thing that Tony was talking about, I actually got interviewed like, I mean, while it was happening, but kind of towards the tail end about the trucker protest stuff and alternative currencies and so on. And I had this whole presentation made and like why debanking this and that and basically what we talk about on this show all the time. And then the dude's show got banned before he could even like really give it any legs or post it or anything. And then he just stopped talking to me because I basically like made the case. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna ban these guys, and anybody who like questions the authority of the bankers to like on and off ramp for crypto. And then before it even started happening, I was like, everybody donating in Bitcoin, they're gonna have problems with their wallets, but if they used Monero, and the guy, even though he was like a Bitcoin guy and did not think very highly of Monero, he was still like willing to put the show up. And then once it got banned, he was just like super scared to even talk about it or interview anybody about it. And it was just like,
That's sad, man.
yeah. The reason why they asked me in the first place too is because like I had already started to like make a few waves about the fact that like people were gonna eventually just have problems with them getting delisted from banks. And I was one of the first people to get like delisted from banks for perfectly legal financial activities. And I pointed that out. I'm like, this is how it goes. And it's, but all of, because I do Trans Canada trucking all the time at the company that I work for, with my best friend runs it, right? And he and I have been doing Trans Canada trucking for a very long time. I did it way before I even met him. And the thing is I already knew a lot of Canadian truckers, and I knew a lot of Canadian businesses, and I knew what was going on with the border and all of that stuff and why they were all pissed off. And right at the beginning, I was like, you guys need to use Monero because that's the only way you're going to stay able to resist the government. And then there were all of these Bitcoin maxis talking about, this is what Bitcoin is for. And everybody got burned for using a transparent blockchain. Every single one of them.
Especially if we're going through an exchange, dude. Like, you just
What
type your ID there.
frustrates me the most, though, Justice, is just like they had all the evidence they needed, and I never saw anyone admit that they were wrong. Not a single one of them was like, oh, I guess Bitcoin doesn't do what we thought it was. Maybe we should be looking at Monero, or maybe like Monero and Bitcoin can start to work more together, or what, we can build a better like atomic swap system. But no, they just like pretended it never fucking happened, right? Like, oh, it'll still work somewhere else, though, I'm sure. Like,
Nope.
we just need to add privacy to it.
These debanking and deplatforming happens everywhere, and it's only going to get worse.
And that's why Monero exists.
People are going to have to start posting MP3s and hosting their blockchains and use Monero.
PGPXMR in the private chat group at Alaskanon. I'm not going to talk too much about my opinion on the truckers, but I agree. Monero should have been the way. People aren't interested in learning, though. I've spoken with a fellow who was involved, I believe, in hacking GiveSendGo to expose the donors. Kurt Tainer. He is currently in jail in Canada, though. And that's the other thing, too, is like all of the different platforms that they were trying to use to do this, like if the people never figured out that at its core, the banking cartels and the government are basically the same thing. They were never able to like admit to themselves the underlying problem and the danger that goes along with not having privacy and all these transparent blockchains. And everybody I know that got Monero to keep going with the protest, none of them got in trouble. None of them have ever been caught. They had fuel, they had food.
They had good OPSEC.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, do you even really need good OPSEC if you're just using Monero? Like if you do Monero all the way to the end, and let's say you need fake Canadian fiat funny money Fed notes, right? Like, even if you got Monero all the way to the point where you're, withdrawing cash for your Monero, then you would have been
at the very least use a VPN or Tor or I2P.
Well, it's if with Dandelion plus and all of these other things, if the final stage you just do ClearNet on an exchange to get a cash withdrawal, because remember, this is a while ago when it was a little easier to do that. They could have just swapped Monero for cash, pulled their money out, and no one would have known that it had anything to do with trucker protests or anything like that. But then they also started to go after the bank accounts based on the geofencing data. And that was also like people at the time were very, unlearned about the geofencing problem that goes along with all of these protests, like you being in the location and so on is enough. It really exposed a lot of people. I mean, we all knew about like how evil government and banking is. I mean, that's obvious. But it exposed a lot of these Bitcoin infotainers for having absolutely no integrity whatsoever. Like they were following this protest and paying super close attention because they thought it was their golden ticket to bag pumping heaven. And then as soon as the privacy concerns became obvious, they all just pretended like none of it happened, and they just continued to pump their bags somewhere else. And it's like, and that was one of the moments in time where I was like, I don't know how many of these BTC people are redeemable, because they clearly know the problems and they don't want to talk about it. They don't care. And then one of the few people that was willing to interview about it, like it wasn't that he didn't have integrity, it's that he didn't have a spine, right? As soon as they started going after his podcast, and I don't want to throw him under the bus because I do like the guy, and like but the thing is as soon as they went after his podcast, he didn't pursue getting the information out. He just moved on to the next topic, but I also get it. Like, I'm not mad about it, because some people toe that line. Doug might be several tiers up, but he toes the line to keep getting the message out and so on. And there's nothing wrong with that. Or another thing is, if you have a lot of responsibilities and you can't afford the jail time, fair enough. Like, grow a spine later when it's safe to do so or whatever. But like the thing is that's my key takeaway from the trucker protest, is the vast majority of Bitcoin infotainers clearly knew, didn't care. They didn't even bother warning anybody. They didn't even bother saying like, hey, you might want to use Monero because Bitcoin is going to get you in trouble.
I mean, they should be smart enough to figure it out themselves.
Listen, bro, that's a terrible way to look at things. I get it. But the thing is like, there's not some like magic formula for people. And I'm not saying this to be derogatory, but like, there are a lot of low IQ people out there. There's nothing they can do about it. That does not make anyone better than them. It just makes you smarter than them. That's all it does, right? Like, the character and the morals of a person are what determine their quality. You may be very smart, and you certainly are, and I'm very impressed, but that does not make you better than people who are not as smart as you. And not only that, but if you're going to have an expectation for a person who's barely more intelligent than a gorilla to understand, like chemistry or whatever, that's not fair. So another way to put it is, you don't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Okay, is a famous saying that's supposedly attributed to Albert Einstein. I don't know if that's true or not. But being smarter than somebody does not make you better than somebody. And not only that, but to set the threshold of, you have to understand this stuff to use this stuff, that's precisely what Monero needs to get away from. You want to make sure that it is accessible to anybody, because that's what private digital cash needs to be. And that, by the way, was part of the problem with Bitcoin. Was like, nobody ever made it accessible to people until it was too late. And by then it was like far too entrenched. We cannot look at the world as though, well, you should have been smart enough to X, Y, and Z. You can assign some blame to people who were capable of understanding. It was just laziness that prevented them from learning or growing or adapting. That's one thing. That's a character flaw. Their laziness is what prevented them. But we cannot say, Monero is only for people with, 110 IQ or whatever. You can't do that. Because for one, it's wrong. It's morally wrong to ostracize people just based on their natural ability. Unless it's like a job requirement. So for example, you don't want like a 90 IQ guy working at a nuclear power plant or whatever. That's one thing. But we cannot start like exiling people away from the freedom land of milk and honey just because they're not intellectually capable of understanding like how to use a VPN or how to use Tor or something like that. And there's one other thing to consider. Some people are incredibly intelligent, but just that's not the area of focus that they've spent their time on. So I'm sure I could be a better developer. I'm sure I could be a better coder. I'm sure I could get better at like networking and so on. But I chose to apply my talents towards more material and real things. So for example, I like to build stuff. I'm really into things like theology and philosophy and so on. I could redirect whatever little talent I have towards, for example, being a developer, but I chose not to. I chose to focus on things that I have a passion about. And if we set the threshold on everybody who wants to use Monero has to use Tor as well, like we're cut, unless you just make it so easy to use Tor that it's just like built into your ecosystem and they don't have to learn anything. That's the appropriate way to be looking at this stuff. And by the way, that's why iPhone is so popular and nobody knows about graphene. It's a combination of marketing, ease of use, and the transition having its own energy cost. In order for people to transition to graphene, it's a lot of work. Where are the people who have built an app that allows you to pull all of your data off of the iCloud and get it onto your graphene phone or whatever? That's how you solve these problems, not the other way around. You cannot set the threshold for people to adopt stuff beyond their capacity.
Yeah, like Alaska is going to know way more about long haul
I think
trucking.
part of the problem is that most of what people are using are closed source and not very friendly to what the people actually want. So with like Apple, if you were wanting to, I don't know, make it easier to use Monero or something that's necessary, they're not going to be very friendly towards that.
That's one of the things too that within this community is so toxic. So for example, like Edge may not have like the most perfect security practices as far as like key custody.
Yeah.
Okay. But the choice that they made was to make it accessible to businesses. And that's a good choice. And people who are like, oh, Edge, blah, 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 not your keys, blah, blah, blah. It's like, stop with the FUD. They built something that was purpose built. Edge's design is so insanely business friendly, and that's what they were going for. And by the way, if you've met the Edge wallet guy, Paul, it's like you would immediately recognize that for one, this guy cares way more about custody than you do. Okay. And for two, this guy cares way more about Monero and the implications of private digital cash than you do. He made a conscious choice to fill a need in the market that was desperately needed. And he's absolutely right. And I'm like the Mr. Freedom, right? So the thing is anybody who wants to throw FUD at Edge for making that decision is effectively anti-Monero in my book, because you need business to business adoption. You need those tools. And that is exactly what it's going to take to, to send Monero to the moon, right? And it's the same with what you were just talking about with Cake Wallet. Nobody put more time, effort, and money than Vic and team. Well, Vic being the money and team being the effort, right? On, oh, you use an iPhone? Let's meet you at your level. There was no iPhone Monero wallet before Cake. I think it's still pretty much the only good one. I could be wrong about that. I probably misspoke. Let me just take that comment out. But they were definitely the first, and they are still definitely the most easy. We have a tip from Anon. I could listen to Alaska Anon talking all day. Make it an official Monero Talk segment, mandatory 2-hour rant.
Kind of what the guest segment is for.
You're one of the few, bro, but I appreciate it anyway. Like that's heartwarming, and I appreciate it.
Much appreciated.
Cellar Door said the altcoin field at that point was so flooded with new scam projects, and this is totally true. With new scam projects and happenings, I can understand if that was the reason a lot of people would be wary of a different tech when BTC was already so new and mysterious to most. And that's a good point. And I should probably be more open-minded to what he's saying here, because, during the trucker protest, like Cellar Door is saying, that was the world. Like, is Monero a scam coin? Is it a shit coin? Apologize for that's the word, right? Wow, you guys are just so nice. I appreciate this. I'm not used to compliments in the world I come from, so maybe this isn't the most cordial way, but I love you guys. I really do. And then PGPXMR, the way I describe Monero to most non-crypto people, it's basically the only crypto which isn't a scam. It has a real use case. Actually, that's a very good way to just kind of lay it out, huh? But yeah, what you're saying, Justice, about like the ability to just get on your iPhone and use something easy and convenient, and to start using XMR in the way it's intended. I mean, Vic is like 20% of all of the Monero community at this point. Like, nobody has put more time, effort, and money into it than that man that I know. Well, actually, Doug probably gives him a run for his money. He's just like dumping time into this. But shit coins are from Moon Boys. Yeah, I agree with XMR guy on that one.
There is a real use case here. It's the only one like it, from what I can see.
For sure. I wish that wasn't true. It does concern me that Monero is kind of like the only game in town for this kind of stuff right now. That meets what I would consider my short list of like must-haves. And that's one of the reasons why I just wish like Pirate Chain or something would just like be awesome and take off, and I do like it a lot. It's kind of like what Body said though, like there's too much whale action going on, but maybe they have a plan, maybe they'll fix it. They are good people, so hopefully they're just going to keep plugging away and make it work. I would love to see thousands and thousands of Pirate Chain transactions, and so, but Monero is like, it's the private stable coin, right? Like it's the big one. Welcome,
it's
gentlemen.
The best.
Goth, you want to chime in? Otherwise, it becomes the Alaskan on Rant show.
Hey, the Alaskan on Rant show is awesome.
Hi, yeah, I like the Alaskan on Rant show. But what XMR guy was saying from They Are Stupid, long time ago, a good friend of me, I had a problem. I need to run a cable from the attic to the fuse box. And I was like, oh, how am I going to do that? Thinking about it. And then he was like, yeah, just on the top side, push a fishing string in with some fishing weight. And by the fuse box, put the vacuum cleaner on it. And the string went through the pipes like no time. And I was like, why am I so stupid to not think about something simple like that? So it's sometimes the quote unquote stupid people have such simple options. It's just stupid you don't think about them. So it's very funny sometimes. We look at each other from you're stupid, or why you do this, why make fun of this, or why do you think it's a problem, or like that.
That's exactly what I was kind of pointing to. That's a perfect example. And I would also just like a personal experience of mine, easily like top 5, one of the smartest people I've ever known in my life. And he's like the salt of the earth. This guy has no formal training of any kind in anything. He's like a public school guy. Best engineer I've ever known in my life. And I've actually known quite a few. And he has no formal training in it at all. The guy is like almost illiterate. Like his ability to read and write is terrible. But he can do math in his head so precisely and so flawlessly and so quickly. Like there's no point in having a calculator when the guy is around, like you just start spitting out numbers at this crazy fast speed and he's just processing them in real time. Or the other thing is like he can have a bunch of complex motions interacting with each other and immediately deduce the end result. But when you talk to the guy, you would swear that he was like retarded, right? It's because he's just not a social guy, and he's terrible at explaining stuff. But the thing is the value that he adds to his environment, no matter what he's doing, no matter where he is absolutely exceptional. And his heart is just enormous, right? Like he's constantly taking care of everybody around him. And then finally, this guy's work ethic is absolutely top tier. He's always building stuff. He's always fixing stuff. Like he's always the guy where, you know, you're stuck on the side of the road in a blizzard and he doesn't just get your car running. He gets it running better than it ever did. And then he follows you all the way to where you're going, even if it's the wrong direction, to make sure you're good. Like, and we have to be careful, like you're saying, about it's easy to get lost in the fact that I'm good at this, therefore I'm good. But it's not true. You know, like you have to measure these things, you know, case in point. And then the only thing that makes you truly a better person is your moral character and your effort. You know, either you put the effort in and you have good, sound moral character, and that makes you a good person, or you don't. All of the talent in the world, you know, I mean, insanely talented people have truly ruined the world right now. You know, most of technocracy is built on the backs of incredibly intelligent people that did not spend the time to figure out the implications of, you know, just because I can, does that mean I should? Or should I put some safeguards in to make sure that this is only used for freedom if possible? We have a couple.
There's a reason that in D&D, wisdom and intelligence are two different things.
Yeah, I always say intelligence without wisdom is like a forest fire, and intelligence with wisdom is like a furnace. One is highly destructive and one can be, you know, tooled to do great things and make new things.
Well, I always say intelligence is doing all the things you know and forget to shut up. And wisdom is knowing when you shut up and when you should speak.
Somehow my battery's on 31%.
You'll make it, bro. I believe in you. Go, little battery, go. So PGPXMR said, I'm not sure if anyone is interested in talking about Signal Messenger. I've been a bit, I think he means big supporter and user of it for a long time, but I recently discovered its shortcomings in other countries. For example, in some parts of the world, the telecom companies block SMS confirmation codes, which cannot be bypassed using something like Tor roaming. In a way, Signal is very useful, but it can be inaccessible to people who may need it the most. There are other ways to confirm identity other than SMS, but Signal has not addressed this deep need for many years. I wonder, anyone think years down the line when 90% pre-mine is exhausted, will R become a feasible, useful, equitable project? And then Justice responded, SimpleX has a superior security and it doesn't require phone numbers. It's pretty nice. And then XMR guy, yep, PGP XMR, SimpleX is good, but does not have a network effect. Signal is finally starting to get the mainstream adoption. I also agree that SimpleX has great identity systems, which Signal should adopt for countries that need it. I'm going to pause here, even though this keeps going. And for one, this has actually been addressed. There's been, on this show, I mean, there have been guests that have talked about this much more knowledgeably than I. There are people who have also chimed in. And I think if I remember correctly, Body had also talked about this, not like Alaska non-rant length, but at length for like a Body rant, right? About some of the concerns about like private messaging and so on. But I think I would like to recap my 2 cents real quick, which is the most important thing to do when you're in the never-ending pursuit of privacy and it's a cat and mouse game. You never want to let perfect become the enemy of the good. And you also have to save face as a community a little bit in order to prevent people who could benefit the most from coming into the fold. So here's a perfect example. Hey, you should use SimpleX because it's got all of these qualities. And then a guy who's currently using SMS on their Fed phone with their Fed bank account and their Fed money is like, yeah, I was thinking about adopting Signal. And you know how the actually like privacy nerds will come storming in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, even though maybe waddling in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, and start telling them about all the shortcomings of blah, 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 Signal, this, that. But it's like, look, bro, this guy is about to make an effort to go from ClearNet, super hackable SMS nightmares and possibly bring their family and friends with them. And they're going to go to Signal, which is a massive upgrade from Fed phone. All right. The worst thing you can do at that moment in time is actually them into the dirt where they're just like, oh, I'm being spied on anyway. I don't care. I'm just going to, stay in the AI surveillance database nightmare panopticon. Okay. If somebody is going to start using Bitcoin, I don't start hating on them and being like, blah, 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 Monero. I mean, yeah. And I will say something like, and that can also make it easier for you to access truly incredible tools like Monero. But from fiat Fed notes to Bitcoin, look, guys, they're dipping the toe in the water. That's a good thing. Okay. Like, and I hate Bitcoin, right? Like it's like personally, I will never use Bitcoin. I did.
I mean, all of us probably will. Not.
Yeah, but the thing is like if somebody's willing to take the plunge from fiat Fed notes to Bitcoin, encourage that. Don't hide the privacy implications and so on. Be like, Bitcoin is good for these reasons. You should be aware that it is not private. However, it can be a useful savings vehicle, but it's volatile, or it can be useful for international payments or so. Encourage them to dip their toes in the water because 90% of what they learn from their Bitcoin adoption will apply to Monero anyway. And as Doug always says, all roads lead to Monero, so, and I feel the same way about the Signal FUD.
Except the Moon Boy shit coins.
Yeah, don't ever encourage people to get into like fucking Moon Boy shit coins. Yes. Like,
I just onboard people to the good shit, but those are good. Like if people are already getting into Bitcoin as opposed to fiat, dude, that's fucking huge.
Yeah, that's a huge upgrade.
Instead of regular SMS, I mean, that's good, but you're still using a phone number. So I just, shit, dog, you can discover Simplex.
And by the way, it is now possible to use Signal with user ID. So, for example, my wife uses Molly. You don't have to register a phone number. You don't have to.
Oh, I thought the pill Molly.
What's that?
Oh, I thought the pill Molly.
Sorry,
it's a drug joke. Molly is a drug in Europe.
Oh yeah, it's a drug.
I think Molly though still requires a phone number because it has to register with the Signal servers. Like, yeah, you can use the username after you get it set up, but I don't think you can set it up without a phone number.
I don't know how she
need
did
to
it.
have a phone number, but I did it also. You need to have a phone number, but it only does send a text message to verify. So you can use almost any kind of phone number. Prepaid SIM in another country, and digital SIM somewhere from the internet paid with Monero.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
quite easy.
I have no idea. Monero-chan is very sophisticated when she wants to be, and I know that somehow her phone number is not registered to her Signal, and it's working just fine.
Yeah, there's actually services that will let you get SMS for like verification codes, and so you could potentially get one of those where like you receive a one-time SMS.
You can get them with Monero.
And I'm pretty sure that's what she did, but I don't know. The thing is because of the nature of my work, the phone number being everywhere thing is a sacrifice that I have private numbers too, but like, and almost all of my Signal interactions are done with what is already a highly publicly facing thing. But even in the business world, the reason why I use Signal for the business world is because at the very least, I will not interfere with a person's ability to maintain some level of privacy. And then also just the tools that Signal allows for are incredible for business purposes. So it's wonderful. And like the Signal as a project is becoming it's now underpinning a bunch of other very useful software services that are also privacy minded.
But even if you use your normal phone number with a Signal or so, and you set a username, and then don't set the part that you can be fined with your number, you still got more privacy than with like WhatsApp or so, because they always show your phone number.
Exactly.
And what I say from that friend that was with the string, so I get into a graphene phone, and sometimes he called me or he texts me like, I need this app, just from Google Play app or something. I can find it in F-Droid. And I'm always, okay, I come back with you. And then a couple of hours later, I look for him. What's the app he need to install by F-Droid or so to get an equivalent kind of app. Never show, oh, you're so dumb, just find it out yourself or so. Always high five the people when they come to you with a simple question like that. I always give a free, as in freedom, option to them. And if they don't want to use it, it's fine with me. But last time, a couple of weeks ago, someone asked, yeah, I need to use Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word for something. But he did not have it. I was like, yeah, or you just install LibreOffice. And although we use Windows, it's a little step to the good side, in my opinion. And every step is one he has taken. It's good. Instead of breaking them down, why not go all the way immediately?
There's another thing too that's kind of like a much more macro level of exactly what we're discussing, which is a lot of these like data analytics companies or AI models or all kinds of other things that are being used for like massive oppressive technologies. They do require lots of very accurate data with no errors. And every little thing that you do to cull the good data and claw it back away from these, let's say what's that, like the analytics company for like crypto, I forget what it
Chainalysis.
Yeah, Chainalysis is a perfect example. Every single time that you put even just the slightest scratch in the accuracy of their data, it hurts a lot more than they will ever admit. And I don't understand it quite as well as I do understand it, but like as quite as well as some other people that I've talked to on this topic. They will admit to you plainly, like the engineers who are behind a lot of this stuff, that the tools for dealing with bad data are still terrible. And there's no good plan for how to deal with garbage data in these LLMs, in these analytics companies, and so on. And just a few poisoned apples, just a few private individuals make a massive difference. And if 5 or 6 people are going to start using Signal, all of a sudden, what happens when they want to use the pricing that changes based on who's walking into the store and stuff like that, or like trying to scoop up your data and feed it back to some LLM somewhere. Even just the slightest dent in a person's data, it like really cripples these people, and it costs them a lot of money to try to fix it. So it's a very important step to get anybody anywhere if they're going to go from SMS to Signal, or if they're going to go from Bitcoin to Monero, or if they're going to go from, even Apple, which is not really that bad for privacy unless, it's Apple or the government. But the thing is if they're going to move to graphene, that's huge. And so that's one of the reasons why if somebody moves to graphene and they still want to use Sandbox Google Play, is it like perfectly private? No. but you know what? That's light years
It's
ahead
good
of
enough.
what's happening, you know?
Good
So
enough.
encourage them, help them, you know, whatever you can do.
We have hit
Those
the
are good. Foot in the
3-hour
doors.
mark.
Yeah, the other thing too is I got dirt guys like coming and going, and it looks like they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. So I should probably bail.
Uh-oh.
I mean, the dirt's here, so I'm not going to complain if I have to move it later or whatever. But like, it's Alaska Non's compound is getting a pretty significant upgrade today. So
he's putting up some high dirt walls to stop ricocheting bullets and stuff.
No, that I already have those. Now
Oh,
it's
okay.
but I won't even get into that right now. There's going to be containers on top of those too, so that'll be nice. But yeah, it's like a leveling thing, high and low spots, and just making sure that the drainage is going to last 1,000 years and so on.
Yeah, fair enough.
That way, when shortwave moves up here, his mesh network broadcasting center is flawless. The shortwave radio can't be airstruck. You know, you get the idea. God bless you all. I love this show. I love everybody.
I'm so smart. I use graphene. I use cubes. I don't allow a lot. I use Monero, and then I close the stupid browser where StreamYard is just running in. Have a nice day, Alaska.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so dumb that I can't even remember my wife's name 8 years later. So, but I'm trying.
That's it, dude. We can wrap it up.
It's not important if you still call her honey.
It's easy to remember Monero-chan. She was I don't know if you've ever seen, I posted a bunch of pictures on like X and stuff. But she's constantly dressing like Monero-chan at all those incidents. She looks exactly like her, actually. But so I can always remember to call her Monero-chan, and she likes that better anyway. So I'm good. But God bless you all. Thanks for having me, and thanks for appreciating the rants. I'll keep doing it as long as people want to hear it. So God bless.
If we did not like it, we did not pull you up.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube, Odyssey, Rumble, Twitch, iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to follow us on X or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram group. See you all next week.